Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Apologies, I might be a bit sniffly today. My hay fever, oh my gosh, it is winning. It's absolutely winning. I'll be honest, I just can't deal with it today. It's killing me. Good day to you all. I hope you're all very, very well. We'll have Lubo joining us shortly, and Kuva 99 is going to join us shortly. Kuva, that's right. Get excited. I'm rolling out Kuva. Look, a lot has happened in this last 24 hours, right? And I think a lot of people needed some time to kind of come to terms with this. I'm seeing a lot of crazy things being said, a lot of funny things, a lot of really weird things being said about Ange going. It really has split everybody. We knew it would. We can't be surprised. We absolutely knew that this news was going to split the fan base. We absolutely knew this was going to split the fan base. There were those that love him. There were those that didn't want him. And it feels like there wasn't really a middle ground with it. It felt like very much like you all know what camp I was in. But for me, I think it is the right decision. I honestly, the number of comments I've had over the last 24 hours or so into my YouTube, it's mad. Enjoy mediocrity. I don't think these people that tell me to enjoy mediocrity have looked at a league table any time in the last year and a half. It's been utterly shambolic. Well, we'll never win anything again. Really, we're never going to win anything again, ever. Like, it's all a little bit emotional at the moment. Obviously, those that are Ange out, I'm seeing being absolutely abused by YouTubers, getting called every name under the sun. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. The manager paid the price. The manager has paid the price, like many people said, for having an awful, awful Premier League 18 to 20 months. So, look, I'm not shocked when the news came through. I'll be honest, I was happy. I was happy about it because I don't want to watch that football. I don't want to watch that football. I don't buy all these people that say he deserved the start of next season. Could he turn it around? But he's shown for 20 months. He can't turn it around. He's shown for 20 months. I mean, 34 defeats in his last 66 games. I mean, how much more time does somebody need to show that they can't hack it in the league? Now, listen, we can now flip to the positive. Yeah, he won the Europa League. I've said all along, a good cup run can't be the benchmark of how good a manager is and how good a football club is. That tells you you've had a good cup run. That's what it does. It does what it says on the tin. We had a good cup run. Angepostecoglou says he focused all his energy there. Many people said, can't believe that Daniel Levy would agree with that at all. Then everyone coming out with these theories going, yeah, he sat down with Levy in January and told it. But, Daniel Levy's not that guy. Love him, hate him, whatever you feel about Daniel Levy, the guy is not an idiot. The guy is not going to sit there and say, yeah, just lose every week. You think Daniel Levy's a businessman that's just lost how much money from Spurs finishing 17th in the Premier League table? I agree. I agree with those that say, Ange, thank you for bringing the trophy to us. And of course, no one's going to take that away from the man. But if we're going to be brutally honest, we kind of stumbled across the line, didn't we, in the Europa League? People say, that he came like I'm going to read you in a minute, like what Sonny said. I'm going to read you what Sonny said. And again, some of the things that are being said, I just don't think are quite true. But hey, each to their own. I understand the players are going to be emotional about it. But let's be fair, those players have got away with everything under this manager. They've got away with everything. Everything. Right? They don't have to perform for 20 months. And listen, a lot of the players coming out in the media, oh my God, we back Ange and we do. Of course, they're not going to say otherwise, are they? You know, I'm not saying they all feel the same. I'm not saying they all hate him. But look, I've never changed. You guys know, right? You guys know me by now. I've never changed on that. You know, I've been Ange out for a long, long time now. I don't like what I see from him as a manager. I don't like the way he talks about the fans. I don't like the way he fights with the fans. And for me, it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, like JS says here, it's ridiculous how it's forgotten that Ange finished 5th. Yeah, but the last 20 months has been absolutely horrific. It's been absolutely horrific. Like, the stats for this man for the last 20 months have been so bad. You would think that we're a team like Burnley that go up and down. No coaching, players out of position, no defensive structure at all, no midfield structure, no youth being developed. But again, listen, I think some of these players were going to go with or without Ange. And this is, again, what I want to talk about today, and I will when Lubo and Kuva join. What I want to talk here, a lot will be spun now. So players that we thought might be going anyway, like Sonny, like Romero, it will all of a sudden be, see, they're leaving because of Ange. Cool. If you're leaving because of a manager, you're not very professional, are you? Yeah, you're not very professional. You need footballers. You need footballers that want to fight for the cause for the club, not, oh, we loved Ange. All right, well, you loved Ange so much that you lost 26 games of football. You know, I mean, when we're talking about no Romero, I mean, we have Romero for half a season every season anyway. Like, it's silly comments like this. And again, Terry, this is the difference between me as a Spurs fan, you as an Ange fan. Yeah, I'm not saying everyone is just an Ange fan, but you admitted, you follow Spurs because of Angepostecoglou. So, look, at the end of the day, it is what it is. He's gone. He's gone, and we look forward. And now, a new manager, I'm hoping we get some coaching. I'm hoping somebody can come in and upskill some of these players. Give us a pattern of play. Give us a shape. And you know what? I just saw the Sky chief reporter outside the Spurs training ground, and he said the reason Spurs want Thomas Frank is because of his tactical flexibility. Absolutely why I want him. Absolutely why. By the way, there's others I want, but it looks like it's going to be him. I like managers with tactical flexibility. I'm not sure why so many people are upset on my opinion of Angepostecoglou. Great, you can win a cup, but in the league, you can't do it, mate. In the league, he's embarrassed us. Hey, it is what it is. Let me do some hellos, by the way. Let me just remind Lubo. Where's Lubo? Ian Lubin. Where is he? Lubo. 1 second. And 1 second. Oh, I've spelt that wrong, haven't I? Hang on 1 second. Let me just message Lubo. There we go. Played with phTV and Romero since December. Why? Ange rushed them both back and got them both injured for months. Only played 11 and 13 in Premier League game. Terry, managers lose players. You have to find a way around it. You cannot build. And again, this is just basics. You have to build your club around players that are fit. This guy, VDV and Romero are always injured. Always. So you either adapt to make sure that doesn't happen, or you don't build around them. He built a system all around Mickey van der Ven. And then when Mickey van der Ven was injured, he still plays that high line. And you're thinking to yourself, why? Why? Why would you do that? So people can present these things. It's funny. People like Terry only present a small snapshot. I'll ask this guy, Terry, why has he lost 34 games in 66 in the Premier League? 34 in 66 is utterly disgusting. 78 points in 66 games. It's utterly, utterly disgusting. No, this isn't true. And again, this isn't true. If you actually break it down, this isn't true. The results when he had the players fit were crap as well. As I said, people present fake. The problem, I'm going to call it, the problem with people like JS is they waffle. They waffle. Go and look at the data. Go and look. In his first 12 games this season, he lost 5 of them. 5. He lost 5 out of 12 when everyone was fit. Why? If it was only injuries, why? Why did he lose to Ipswich at home? Leicester at home. Palace hadn't won a game all year. We go there, they beat us. This narrative is wrong. If anybody, I'm going to say this right now, if anyone is watching Spurs and thinks that we are tactically well drilled, no matter which 11 play, you're out of your mind. We look horrific. Come here. No, sorry, talking to Stanley, not you, lot. He bought one of my he's got one of my trainers. We look tactically awful. Tactically, we look ridiculous. So, Ruben, again, maybe Glasner's not available. Have you ever thought about that? You ever thought that maybe Glasner's not available? Maybe Spurs have approached him. Maybe he's not available. Look, I think there are those football fans that don't care about tactics and coaching. For me, Tottenham Hotspur absolutely need a coach. We need a coach. We need someone to come in. We need someone to come in and make us organised. Look at Spurs. Where should Frank be getting his squad? It depends what the squad is. At the moment, we have no idea who's coming in, no idea who's going out. Let's wait and see what squad he's got. But this isn't true. He prioritised. This is not what you lot were saying. What you all said when he had injuries was wait till those players come back. We're going to fly up the league. It's not a betrayal of the fans. Some of us didn't want him. It's not a betrayal of any fans, Terry. As I said, you've openly admitted you're not a Spurs fan. You're an Angepostecoglou fan. You have to understand, Terry, what about those thousands that go up and down the country every week? They don't want to watch us lose 22 games in a season. Tottenham, injuries or not, should not be losing 22 games. Should not be losing. You need a coach. You've got to have a coach. What's happened here is the cup win has made everyone else forget what a manager's job is. Everyone forgets what a manager's job is. A manager's job is to coach, is to upskill, develop youth, implement tactics, make us hard to beat. Ange didn't do any of that. He had a good cup run. No one's knocking. I'm not knocking that. But that isn't enough. That isn't enough, right? To turn around and go, oh, I want to see more of it. He's shown over 3 years. But again, I mean, again, look at the limited thinking of this. We've beaten Frank 3 times. Okay, so now look at Thomas Frank's results this year against the top 10 compared to Ange's. Why would it be just Tottenham v Brentford head to head? That doesn't make sense. That's not the barometer. I don't understand why people don't want us to be coached better. I need somebody to make me understand. But again, Terry, you don't understand football. Frank finishing 10th. He's managing Brentford. He's managing Brentford. And your manager, what's your manager's record in the Champions League? If you're going to do this, know your facts. Anyone in the chat want to tell this man Postecoglou's record in Champions League football? Frank finished 10th with Brentford. That man's done a wonderful job. A wonderful job. Again, childish comment. Jazz, I'm going to stop reading this. It's ridiculous. It's such a childish comment. Why is it either or? Spurs don't win trophies every year. So you've got to be coaching. You've got to be building. You've got to be growing. These are the basics of football. Sure. Don't want Frank then. Go and watch the videos of this man coaching. This is a top coach. This is a top coach. Absolutely, Ash. Yeah, because Frank has spent 400 million like Ange, hasn't he? And mate, Ash, I find it hilarious. These people, they just back Ange without actually doing any homework. They've done no homework on Frank. I can't trust you on this. I'm seeing the body of work that Thomas Frank has done, and it's excellent. It's excellent. A really good body of work that he's got. So why would I trust you on that? So is okay, everybody. So C. Fletch thinks that Pep Guardiola's a shit manager because Ange beat him this year. Twice. Make it make sense. Think the points through. Think the points through. There are too many people emotional with their opinion rather than actually going to do their homework. This is Ange in the Champions League, is it? 6 games, 0 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses. So why would I want, when people are going, oh, Frank doesn't manage in the Champions League. Well, look at this guy. This guy can't cut it in the Champions League. So what are we doing here? Glenn has a tactical ineptitude for far too long before recognizing the issues. I don't even need to read the rest. Absolutely. He was tactically inept and he paid the price. I'm not shocked he's gone. Surely no one can be shocked that he's gone. Everybody sat there, said the 22 defeats don't matter. Daniel Levy said, yes, they do. Of course they matter. Of course they matter. Luan, by the way, Luan, I've not said he's my first choice, by the way. Hope you're well, my man. I've not said he's my first choice, but he looks like he is Spurs' choice. And I think he's a good coach. And I'm looking forward to seeing us coached. I watch Spurs every week. We look like an under-9s team. No one's in a set position. Players just running behind us for fun. It just looks mad. Why not? Tell me why. I bet you can't give me an actual football reason. Why is Frank not the man for us? Why? Exactly. Exactly, Danny. Exactly, Tom. Look at the players Brentford have. And we got Spurs fans going, oh, he finished 10th. Yeah, with Brentford. They've got the second lowest salary in the league. There you go. I think my man said it there. Brentford 19th in the league for wages. 10 million a season net transfer spend. Mate. It's mad. It's utterly, utterly mad. We just disrespect everybody who's done good jobs. So, but again, no one can seem to tell me why. Tell me, I'll tell you what, let me ask the question. Let's see if I get a football answer rather than he's not won anything. What's Frank not good at as a manager and a coach? There's the question to you. What is Frank not good at? He doesn't play a back 5 every week. Ange conceded 65 goals, mate. When you want to talk about He'll put you to sleep. Terry, I'm going to say it. Sorry, mate. You don't understand football. When you say things like this, again, I can tell the people that understand the nuance of football and those that don't. Plays a back five every week. No, he doesn't. Shows how uneducated you are. He switches between a back three and a back four. Doesn't play a back five every week. He's flexible. He's flexible. He's flexible. Why don't we want that? Why do people not want a tactically flexible manager? Have any of you ever gone and looked at the coaching videos of Frank with his players and his staff? Brilliant. Has anyone looked at that? Or are we just going, oh, he's from Brentford? And I'll say this to the fans that haven't supported Spurs for 2 years, the ones that, unlike Terry, have supported Spurs longer and know the club. Remind me where we got Pochettino from. We got Pochettino from Southampton. Southampton. Let's have a look. Let's have a look where Southampton were. Right, let's have a look. For all these people who don't know the Tottenham Football Club. Right, 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. Let's just have a look. The internet's got all the answers to all your questions, guys. But people are too lazy. The fact that Terry guy said they play a back five every week shows he has not got a clue about Brentford at all. Right? Hasn't got a clue. So if we have a look here. So Pochettino joined Spurs, 2014, 2015 season. Okay? Let's have a look. So if we look at the Premier League table for that year, the year before. Southampton finished 8th on 56 points. Right? Brentford this year have finished 10th on 56 points. Everyone loved Poch. Everyone loved him. It's not sacking. Again, Reezy, you've got to understand, if you're not going to be buying the best players, you've got to coach them. You've got to have a coach, mate. I don't understand how people like you don't see how bad his coaching is. Mate, he'll coach them. Petro, again, people are not listening. Don't watch then, Jamie. Simple. We can't defend. We can't defend. We lose most weeks, and we've got fans going, oh, Frank's not as good as Ange. Based on what? What would Frank have won with Celtic? Wouldn't he have won everything that Ange won? Yeah, exactly. Put some respect on the under-9s teams. Yeah. Kenny, look, I don't forget these things, mate. Absolutely. I don't forget these things. It's utterly crazy. I just think, but Ange didn't even have a style of play, did he? Ange's style of play was getting exposed week in, week out by every manager. This guy's just scored more goals than most of the league. So his style of play can't be that bad. Yeah. Don't get it. Again, people are saying things without doing their homework. So I'd love Glasner. Next rider, I'd love Glasner. I would. I truly would. I truly, truly would love Glasner. I'm guessing he's not available. Right? I'm guessing he's not available. And Crystal Palace chairman will fight tooth and nail to keep him. Just got them into Europe for the first time. Jace, big up to you, my man. Says, yeah, a large majority wanted another season of awful dross football. Absolutely. Thank God it's over. But what do you mean? But again, Ruben, when you're saying Frank's system, Thomas Frank is adaptable. He's flexible with his tactics. This doesn't make sense. And sacked because Levy wants a manager who won't ask the club to spend the money needed to compete. Again, you don't understand football. When has Thomas Frank ever spent big money to compete? When has Ange? None of these managers have. So now all of a sudden you're saying Ange is asking for big signings. Ange is the one who said he didn't want experienced footballers at the club. Terry, do your homework. You're not doing any homework, mate. You're just saying a lot of things because you love Ange. You're not a Spurs fan. I can say it time and time again. You're an Ange fan. You said this, not me. You are an Angepostecoglou fan. Absolutely. Brian, I've watched 3 or 4 of them this morning. I've watched three or four of his videos this morning. The way he talks to his players, the way he works with them. Watch him on the training pitch. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. Alexi, so Frank improved every single player in Brentford, buying cheap, no name, and improving them. Plus losing his best players. People like Terry don't get it. I called him out. Oh, he finished 10th. This man loses his best players every year. Has a net spend every year of £10 million, right? Has spent £35 million on average for 7 years. For 7 years. And people, mad. Wow, disrespecting people who have done good jobs. When it comes to, but Thomas Frank's done a good job in the top league. Thomas Frank's done a good job in the top league, not at Celtic. People have got to do homework. People have got to do their homework. Really, really makes me laugh. Yeah, again, Big Will, but I love this. Oh, he's going to play a back 5. Does anyone watch? Tell you what, let's go on. I'll tell you what, let's see. Let's make Terry, let's see if Terry's right or I'm right. Let's have a look. So Brentford's, there you go, Brentford transfer market. Here we go. It's so funny because when you look at Brentford's squad, they shouldn't even be in the top half of the table. Let's have a look. I don't want Brentford transfer market. I wanted Brentford's sofa score. I just find it truly worrying how many people don't go and do their homework. It bothers me that people just say silly things without actually understanding what they're saying. I mean, this year, they've got, 1.7 goals per game, right? 1.7 goals per game. Goals from inside the box, 62 out of 338 chances. Goals from outside the box, 3 out of 102. Let's have a look. That's not what I wanted to look at. Okay, so let's look at their last game, shall we? Oh, dear. Oh, dear, Terry. Oh, dear. Let's show Terry, shall we? So this is the Thomas Frank that plays 5 at the back. That was their last game of the season. Can anyone see that? Nope. You see that? That was their last game. Oh, what's that? Is that a back 4? Look at this team. Pinnock, Potter, Collins, Ayer, Norgard, Janelt. Look at these players. And he's got this team to 10th. Let's have a look. Let's just see. Let's see what he did against Newcastle. Oh, look. It's the back 4. Oh, look. It's the 5 at the back. Where's the 5 at the back? Hang on. Brentford, when I beat Man U 4-3. Oh, look. It's 4 at the back. Let's see when they beat Forest away, something that Ange couldn't do. Oh, look. It's 4 at the back. Let's see what happened when they beat Brighton. Oh, look. It's 4 at the back. Terry, do you want to stop saying silly things now, mate? You've said really silly things, and it sounds silly because you don't know what you're talking about. I've just gone back 5 games there. All of them back four. We know he can play 5 at the back. We also know he plays 4 at the back. He doesn't, because they're so wrapped up in Ange that they're not doing their homework. This is the problem. Frank can't beat a top side. Silva has a weaker team, and he beat Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, and Tottenham this season. Frank can't beat a top side. Really? He's beaten Bournemouth. He's beaten Forest. I'm looking at let's have a look. He beat Crystal Palace. I'm just going back through their games. He beat Newcastle. This is interesting, isn't it? For a man that can't beat anybody. Let's go back some more. He's beaten Crystal Palace twice, by the way. Newcastle. I just don't think people look at the facts. I don't think anybody looks at the real data. They just go, he's not a fancy name. It's limited thinking. He drew Arsenal. Why couldn't we beat Arsenal? Why couldn't we beat Arsenal? Do you know what? Listen to this 4-game run that they had. Beat Forest 2-0. Beat Brighton 4-2. Drew with Arsenal. Drew with Chelsea. Beat Bournemouth. What? That's 5 of their last 6 games. Kuva, 99.
Big up, Sav. Been a while.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I thought I'd just popped on the Kate and Jim's just a few minutes ago. So I thought if I'm doing a couple of channels today, I don't have to bother for the rest of the pre-season.
Love it. Get it all out. I wish that's how it worked for me when I do it full time. I'll just do it on one day.
I don't know how you motivate yourself, mate. I really don't.
Well, I do, because I've got great people in the chat that say funny things that fuel me. Big up to you, mate. Just before I bring you in, let me do some super chats. Video complete Sophia answered, Savva, would you prefer Silva or Frank? I'd prefer Frank, but to be honest, I've hated what I've seen so much from Ange. I just want either of these two guys that can coach. I just want to coach, and I'm going to talk to Coover about that in a second. So for me, I really like Frank. I like everything about him. He's really good with the media. He's brilliant with his players. I think he comes across great. I've watched 3 or 4 videos today of him. One where he's at Gary Lineker's house eating dinner with Gary Lineker. I don't know if anyone's seen that. And he lives and breathes football, the way he talks about it. Another one was a tactical masterclass. Another one is a video of him in pre-season training in Portugal last season with Brentford. And he's absolutely brilliant on the coaching field. He's absolutely brilliant. Big up to you. Thank you very much to Don Hotspur. Thank you very much. I said Romero, VDV this season in the Premier League. Played 9, won 3, lost 5, drawn 1. Yeah, listen, it's this fake narrative going around that when Van de Ven and Romero play, apparently we never lose games of football. I've seen those two being opened up like a can of worms. I'm not blaming them, but I'm blaming his tactics. I've seen these two opened up like a can of worms. And the only time they're not is when we put 10 men behind the ball, right? So let that sink in. Big up to you, Don. Appreciate that. Ian JD has said, imagine our high line against Mbappe. I mean, insert player there. Imagine our high line against many people, but big up to you. I mean, thank you very much, Ian. Really appreciate that. There's 800 of you in here and only 191 likes. We're on Dominic Solanke goal conversions. Can we please get Harry Kane goal conversions? Please smash that like button.
Just quickly, you would like to see that little foot race between Van de Ven and Mbappe, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if I didn't want Van de Ven's hamstring to snap in the process, yeah. Kuva, you've been away for a while, so we haven't spoken for a while. Missed you a lot. Hope you're well. Always got time for you. It's been a crazy 24 hours, hasn't it? And the fan base, of course, is completely split down the middle. What are you making of all of this?
24 hours? For a crazy few weeks, hasn't it? It's not stopped.
or a
The-
few decades. Crazy few
Just
decades.
well, no, I think the last season it's kind of Spurs all over in a way, isn't it? We don't expect to win trophies anymore, so suddenly we did. And then because we won a trophy, our league form's the worst it's ever been. Um, so what do you make of that? I don't know. I don't even know how I feel about Ange at the moment, because I thought he's not good enough. I want to see him gone. But then, well, that European trophy was very nice. So I'm of the ilk of thanks, Ange. You had to go, but lovely present you left us. Cheers, mate. All the best. I don't want to hate him now.
Yeah, I don't want to hate him. I didn't listen. I don't want him as manager. I think everyone knows of that, Coover. There is no doubt. There's not 1% of me that wants him as my football manager, but I really do hope he goes on and gets another job. I just don't want his tactics at Tottenham anymore.
Yeah.
And I do think that the trophy, again, you can tell we're not a massive club anymore, Coover, because the trophy has really pulled the wool over for me what has been a horrible 20 months, Coover. I mean, 34 defeats in 66. You're a few years, just maybe 2 or 3 years older than me. You've seen what I've seen. I've never seen it this bad, mate. I've never, ever seen us lose games at this ratio, ever.
We've put out some pretty shoddy performances in times and some very poor seasons. But yeah, actually losing this amount or systematically, I mean,
Yes.
more than every other week on average, more than every other week. What must that be doing to the players? So well and good saying we can build on this cup win. Okay, yeah, maybe it does give you a bit of confidence lifting a trophy. Why not? A bit of euphoria there. But what happens to a player when they're losing every other week? What's that doing to them? What sort of mentality is that building?
Yeah.
So you weigh it up one against the other, and you've got to say you can't build on losing 22 games in a league season.
No.
That's you rescue that. It's disastrous. So yeah, you had to go. I think you're right. That cup win does gloss over the it does paper over the cracks, but it's a lovely bit of paper.
It is. Do you know what I saw? I saw a meme yesterday, and it showed it was like Angepostecoglou wallpapering a room with a picture with the wallpaper was him lifting the trophy. And do you know what I've been saying, Hoover? I'm saying Spurs for me need triple bypass surgery. We need triple bypass heart surgery. And it's like we're giving the patient paracetamol. Go on, that'll do. Don't worry about your clogged arteries. Don't worry the fact that your heart is skipping a beat every few seconds. Have some paracetamol, crack on.
Wet sponge, get on with it.
Yeah. Have some deep heat on your chest and just crack on, son. I've said this for a long time, that I've never seen a team not coach like this. And we talk about injuries, and I get it, Cooper. I'm not blind, as are you. I talk about injuries. But when teams get injuries, it doesn't mean that their tactics should just go out the window. Bournemouth had a lot of injuries this year. They're bringing in players that if I suggested Spurs buy any of those players, we would have said, no. They come in to a well-oiled, well-drilled team and just get on with the job because they're not wide open. We are just so wide open, Coover, and he's not addressed that in 2 years. He's not addressed it at all. Not once.
It's really strange, isn't it? Because you'd think somebody was getting hold of the players and just getting them to do some of the basics better. But I don't think we've really seen that. It's sometimes it's baffling. It's like there's no coaching at all. Like you said, that's the suspicion. But if, like me, you believe that most signings are made by the club rather than a manager, which I very much believe is the case at Spurs, maybe the odd one or two that a manager said, I really like him, can we get him? But the majority are club signings. I'm absolutely convinced of it. It's made by that transfer committee with the best interest of the club at mind. Maybe they'll fit something that a manager wants, but it's not really down to them. Big up, Lou.
Right.
Yeah, if that's the case, I forgot where I was going with that with it now. Yeah, if that's the case, then what? And we're not getting no coaching, and the manager's not signing the players. What exactly is he doing?
Right.
Um,
And
I'm baffled.
Cooper, this is the thing. Like, if we look, guys and girls out there, Thomas Frank is the. By the way, I've got to keep caveating this. I'm not saying there aren't other managers I like above Frank, but Thomas Frank looks like he's the guy, right? He is the bookie's favourite by a country mile. He's the one that's been talked about. Fabrizio Romano said that we're deep in talks with him. Thing is, Cooper, if you look, and I'll bring it up in a second, if you look at Brentford and the players they sign every year, I can only imagine if Spurs signed any of those players, our fans would have a shit fit. Our fans would go, man. But what does Thomas Frank do with them? Coaches them, drills them, turns them into a team, right? He's a coach. And Lubo will back me up on this. I'm not saying Lubo, I've heard Lubo say this, that in all his years, he's never seen someone as bad at coaching as Postecoglou. I've never seen a manager watch his team get ripped apart for 45 minutes and then send them out in the second half to play in exactly the same way and get ripped apart again. It's like, it's absolutely crazy, chaps. It's crazy. And he had to go. He had to go.
Yeah, no doubt. You can't build success on one cup win. You need to have a solid foundation. Solid foundation is winning most of the time, week in, week out. And where do you do that the most? It's going to be the league. League position is very important. It's a gauge to how good your team is in respect to their peers. This is why winning the league is always considered the holy grail for most managers. They'll take that ahead of Champions League because it is showing you are better than everybody else around you. So conversely, if you finish 17th, you are the worst team that didn't get relegated. That is massively significant. I'd also like to point out the fact that not just 17th, but 4 points adrift of bloody Wolves who were guaranteed going down. Do you remember that? How they had no chance of staying up whatsoever. Managed it comfortably ahead of us.
But they brought in a coach. Isn't it funny when you watched
Amazing.
Wolves?
Yeah.
When you watched Wolves in the second half of the season, you went, they look organised. Suddenly, Wolves look like a team. And if I'd said to anybody, we're going to bring in Vitor Pereira, again, people would have had a shit fit, Cooper. They would have had a shit fit.
Also, things to point out is things like, we had to bin off our league matches to manage to win the cup. Who else does that? I didn't see Palace struggling with relegation just to have their FA Cup win. I didn't see Newcastle down in the bottom 5 because they're going for that League Cup. No, they managed to get in the top 5, didn't they? We're the only club that makes excuses like this.
That's mad.
And make it on everything. It's always an excuse for something, no matter what. We couldn't do it because we got injuries. Our back 5. We're so much better when we have our back 5. You can't expect him to win without that back 5. What? So other clubs don't have injuries and miss a player? They cope with it. We can't for some reason. It's also the other thing that this always annoyed me. It comes back to these divisive arguments we have on everything: Levy in, Levy out, Ange in, Ange out. Pragmatic football, attacking football. And I'm going to go on the pragmatics versus attacking football at the moment, because we always heard the same argument. You can't play attacking football if you want to win something. So what's your choice? You just want that, or you just want to have pretty football, or do you want to win things? And I think, why is it always made into this binary choice when you can have both? I don't get it. Same with the league, Ange in the league and winning the Europa Cup. Why does it have to be binning off the league? Why can't you do both? We're not talking about winning the league as well. That would have been really asking for too much. But I think comfortable mid-table to top 6. I don't think that's unreasonable to demand. I mean, who are we? We're not Wigan, are we? I mean, what does Wigan bin off a season to win an FA Cup and they would have gone down. They did go down the season after, but you know, where does that help? How do you build on that? Did Portsmouth build on their FA Cup win? Did Wigan build on theirs?
Right.
No.
Right.
You list off loads of teams that have won a trophy and not done anything. Leicester won the league, won the FA Cup, still get relegated because at the end of the day, their league form slipped. It's the bread and butter of all teams. If you want to be taken seriously, you've got to be up there. A club our size should be in and around at least the top 8. I mean, 8th place would be a pretty mediocre season, but you'd expect that as a bare minimum, wouldn't you? And
mate, I did 7th.
Yeah. So why are we trying to accept anything less than that? And 17th isn't just bad; it's a disgrace, absolute disgrace. And I'm not going to accept that it's good enough to carry on like that. So like I said, I'm happy to just say thank you for the trophy, Ange, but we can't go on like this either. It's not sustainable.
Yeah. No, it's not. And look, spot on, Kuva. I've missed you. That beautiful face of yours. Lubo, I would say I've missed you, but I spoke to you yesterday. How are you, sir? You well? You good?
All good, you?
Yeah, man. Apart from hay fever is absolutely winning the fight between Savva and hay fever today. Like, uncontrollable. I've just had 3 hay fever tablets, and I'm sure that's not healthy, but I'm like just dosing up. Anyway, Lubo.
Been a funny day today. Been a funny day. Woke up this morning, pulled out. We got a couple of newspapers on a Saturday, and both had really interesting articles on Ange, on Angie and Ange out. In effect, not saying it, we want him in or we want him out because he's gone, but sort of looking at the good side of Ange and the bad side of Ange, because this season has been a season of extremes, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it came back. There was one of the headlines was about, you know, what about glory? Isn't the game about glory? And it took me back. The most to I'm going to start. For me, this week isn't about a new manager. This week is about sorting out the Boardroom. Because if we don't sort the Boardroom out and get that Levy out, then we're going to be back here in 18, 24 months again, talking about Frank out, Glasner out, this one out, that one out, who's coming in next. And Cullen's gone, looks like Munn's going, Ange has gone. I'm reading that Lange is staying on.
He's going to work under Paratici, isn't he? Doing the youth side of it.
Yeah. So for me, the most important thing now is we get Levy out. He cannot control the purse strings. He cannot control the football club, the football side of things. And most importantly, we need a chairman with a new, fresh mentality to come into this club with a view that he's going to take us as far as he possibly can. Because without that, we're just going down the same road. You know, a manager comes in. Levy's been expecting Champions League football on Europa League budget, and the two don't marry out. They just don't marry up.
Can I ask though, Lubo, just quickly before you finish that? But isn't that why it's fundamental? That listen, I agree, Lubo. I agree with you. Right? We know how Tottenham operate. We've had managers before that have had this dilemma, that have managed with the players they've got and made us a good team, made us compete, made us feared, made us organised. I look at Harry Redknapp. I look at Pochettino. Isn't this why we need a coach? I know. Levy's here, whether we like it or not. Until we know otherwise, Levy's here. So if that is the case, isn't that why we need a Frank, a manager that is used to not working with the world's best? Because we saw how that worked with Conte and Jose. They want the world's best. They're not coaches. Frank, he coaches people better.
Bilbao brought into focus my feeling every season for the last 17 years, how all the other clubs, the fans, the main clubs, that we're meant to be up there. You know, you go around Europe, you look in England, the richest clubs seem to win trophies regularly, except for Spurs. We're the only one in the whole of Europe all the richest clubs that never seem to win trophies, now and again. So for me, that's more important. Listen, you bring in a Glasner. For me, he's my first choice because I think the squad that we've got suits Glasner's style of football. Three at the back, Poru, Dogie, Spencer's wing backs. For me, I'd rather have that sort of manager. If Frank comes in, I think tactically he's been seen to be very astute. Because he hasn't won anything, you look at it and you think, well, hang on a second, he's been with Brentford. What do you expect him to win at Brentford? They got the 19th highest wage bill out of lowest out of
yeah.
sorry
19th.
19th. He's second from yep 19th. I think there was only Ipswich that were less. I think it was Ipswich. And he's done a fantastic job. Most clubs, you look at clubs like Sheffield United, Burnley, Leicester, Southampton, they're yo-yoing. West Brom yo-yoed and then went down. Norwich yo-yoed, they stayed down. And Frank has kept them up for 4 years on a net spend over 7 years of 70 million. He's done a fantastic job. He brings players on, sells them, loses his best players, replaces them all the time. And
look at that.
Sometimes there are some really good. There are people with loads of ability that never get the opportunity that could do a good job. Eddie Howe got that opportunity at Newcastle, and look how he's done. People looked at his record. Bournemouth, great, going from the fourth or League Two up to the Premier League. People thought, okay, that's really good, but he's not won anything in the Premier League. Then he was with Burnley, went back to Bournemouth, and now he's been given an opportunity. And look how he's doing. I think Frank will do fine, providing we have new owners who give him proper backing. When I say proper backing, I mean you're open. Doesn't mean you go all out and every player's got to be 70, 80 million. What I mean is, you buy the right players at whatever price they're going. If you find a Dele Alli at 5 million, brilliant. If you get you see someone coming through like who's going to be as good as Van Dijk, you pay the 75 that Liverpool paid. And you pay the wages that you need to pay for those players. You don't buy players based on, you're gonna get away with paying them small wages, low wages. So for me, Lever's always tried to get success on the cheap. They've tried to bring, it's not just Lever, it's Lewis as well. ENIC have tried to bring their own way of working financially, and they've tried to beat the system, and they haven't beaten the system.
Do you see any of that changing? Do you see, hear me out. Do you see any of that changing with Charrington being implemented by Joe Lewis into the club's board? Do you see, because that he's an operator, right? He's a top guy. So do we see that changing? Does it change nothing?
Hopefully his mentality is one that wants to win, and on the football pitch as well as on the balance sheet. That is key. Why can't you be winners at both? Why does it have to be one or the other? So for me, if he's a good operator, let's get Spurs back up there. Let's get Spurs challenging, because they've got the financial muscle to compete with the other clubs. Well,
look, let me. I'm going to bring Kuva in. Before I do Kuva, just a few things. I'll show some people some news that's gone around today, and I'll also show you what Fabrizio Romano has said. Let's see what Ben Jacobs said first. So about an hour ago, Ben Jacobs. Oh, can you see that? Yeah, Ben Jacobs said that Thomas Frank is Spurs' top choice to replace Angepostecoglou, with talks ongoing. No approach to Brentford yet, but they are aware of Spurs' preference. Daniel Levy and Thomas Frank have already spoken directly multiple times. Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna is one option appreciated by Brentford should Frank depart, which makes sense. I think that would be a good, sensible option for Brentford. Now, if we look at what Romano has said in the last few hours, let's see how Victor Osimhen in Nigeria today. Let's Going to Istanbul. He is going to Galatasaray. Here we go. So Tottenham are advancing well on Thomas Frank appointment as new head coach, with more talks to follow next week. Club optimistic to make it happen soon. And just remember the Yao Pedro piece, because I want to talk about him a little bit later. He's available to other clubs. And Kuva, here's a few things that we've seen today. We've seen that Matt Laura said Tottenham clear the decks for Postecoglou's successor, but Johan Lang, an ally of Thomas Frank, survives the cold to lead the search with the help of Fabio Paratici. We've got this one that said it's understood that Angepostecoglou has already received interest from clubs willing to offer him an instant return. Son, I'll come to that in a minute, actually. This one says that Miller Jedinak, Montgomery, and Sergio Raimundo are also leaving, but Matt Wells and goalkeeping coach Rob Birch are staying. But then further down in the bigger article, Matt Law did say it will all depend on who the manager is as to whether or not they get kept moving forwards. With all this news, Kuva, about Thomas Frank, why are so many people underwhelmed by Frank? Why is he looked upon as, oh, that's not underwhelming? Are we forgetting Poch? Are we forgetting where we got Poch from, where we got Harry from, where we got Martin Jol from? Are we just conveniently forgetting this, or is he underwhelming for you?
And like you said earlier, Eddie Howe as well is another one worth mentioning. Same bracket. Yeah, of course he's underwhelming. He's not a manager that's like, the glamour face of football, is he? It's not Pep Guardiola. It's not somebody that's coming with a CV littered with silverware either. He's worked his way up the ranks and he's done really well at Brentford. I think he's a very, very competent coach. He's shown he's tactically astute. And he's working with an absolute peanut budget. So he's going to go under the radar. He won't suit a lot of people, but I think it's a little bit, for me, it's foretelling what we're going to be doing off the field as well now. Because with all this super excitement and the usual sort of wild speculation about, takeover bids and huge cash injections, things are really changing. We're going to be doing a complete new, brand new Tottenham, with all this massive backing and everything. Is Thomas Frank the manager that does that? No, he isn't. He's the complete opposite. If anything, that gives me the impression we're going to cement in what we've always been doing, which is trying to save money and making do with lesser signings, if you like, sort of more budget signings without breaking the bank, pinching the pennies, and make do with what you've got. That's Thomas Frank. I think that's why we're getting him. So,
don't we need his coaching? Like when you, again, I use this word a lot, and I know people get bored of hearing me use the word coaching, and Lupo probably hates it more than anyone else because I say it all the time. But I watch Tottenham, and all I look at and think is, please, someone coach this. Please, somebody get that back four and coach them. If Van der Ven or Romero are injured, whoever comes in should be coached that we are knowing how to be a organised back four. Surely we need that.
That's surely what a squad is supposed to be, isn't it? So when you have injuries, people come in, know their role, know what to expect, and they've actually practiced with the people around them. So bingo, especially when it comes to defensive drills. It's the easiest part of football is teaching the team how to defend, because there's places to be, there's communication that has to be worked on with the players next to you. You've got to know positional sense. You've got to know when to move up. You're looking at your teammates to know when to bring the defensive line up, catch people offside, etc. How to work with your goalkeeper. You can tighten up all of that really easily. That's kind of textbook stuff. The bits in football you can't teach is natural flair or vision, pure skills.
Yeah, you
That's
can't
why
make
they was getting huge money,
can you? You
exactly.
can't suddenly make Timo Werner have David Ginola's flicks and tricks, but you can make him fitter and organised. And absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So that being said, if you see a manager where it's just going wildly wrong and the defence has not shown any sign of really getting better, you've got to ask questions. What is going on there? If it's not the manager's problem and it's the coach is doing it. Still, manager interacts with the coaches, don't they? There's a big problem there, and we're just not seeing it fixed. So I think somebody like Frank, I think he would steady this ship, and let's not gloss over things again by saying winning the Europa League has steadied the ship. It's made us, a really good side all of a sudden.
I'm so happy you said that. I'm so happy you said that because, I mean, Luba, I'll bring you in. I've said for ages to you, this is the difference. All the people saying we've won a trophy, yes. Factually, yes, we won a trophy, but Kuva's absolutely right. Winning a cup doesn't steady a ship. Winning a cup doesn't suddenly mean, right, the tactics are good. The tactics are changed. So for me, there was none of this give him 10 games, give him 15 games. He had to go. He's gone. And Luba, I just want to say we were right. All the people saying, what does it matter that we finished 17th and lost 22 games? We said all along, it will bloody matter to Daniel Levy. There was no way he had the chat with Levy and said, by the way, Daniel, I'm throwing half a season. Are you comfortable with that? And Daniel Levy went, yeah, crack on, mate. Don't worry, it's only £3 million a league position I lose. Crack on. Luba, it was never happening, was it?
Well, we said, didn't we? 37.2 million loss. Had we finished the same as last season, compared to where we finished this year, that's what we lost in merit money. Sav, can I just answer one comment that's been aimed at me from Michael George 301? Michael, hi. How does Lubo know Levy ain't going to go large on this springboard? Crystal ball, so negative and obsessive. Michael, if you listen to what I said, I'm talking about mentality. Levy has spent money over the last few years. Because he's not a football person, and because for a lot of the time, particularly during his 25 years, he's brought people in who are not great. Baldini wasn't particularly marvellous, to quote one. He has wasted a fortune on players. So I'm not saying he hasn't gone large. He doesn't go large the way other clubs go large. Our biggest transfer purchase is Solanke at 57 million. You've got City at 100, Chelsea at 115, Liverpool at 85, Arsenal at 105, and Man United at 85. Now, I'm not saying that all of those have been successful, but they've had a go. They wanted a player, and they were prepared to spend the money. My point is that we need to be open to spending that money if the right player comes along. If we had half a chance of getting Gyökeres, and it cost 90 million this season, Spurs should go out and spend 90 million on this player, because then you would see a massive. No, but this is the mentality that we need to have to be competing with these clubs, because the other 5 clubs are all going out and they're spending money. Villa have spent big money. Newcastle will spend big money. And we will fall behind if we don't get rid of this chairman and get people in who want to win. That's all I want. No guarantees you're going to win, but if you've got a chairman in there who is giving 100% and is dedicated to making Spurs successful, if we're not successful, we're not successful. As I said, no guarantees, but at least the guy's had a go. At least the guy is doing his best, because all the fans are invested. The fans that travel, the fans that spend money, the fans that go to the club shop, the fans that follow the team that aren't able to get into the grounds and follow the game from a distance. They're all Spurs fans, and they all deserve an owner and owners who are going to give them as much as they can, because at the end of the day, they've got to give something back to the fans. And I don't think they give back what the fans give to them. So that's the past.
To you.
Questions about the future, crystal ball. I don't see anything changing with Levy in charge, mentality-wise. Just don't see it. Honestly, don't see it, Michael.
Well, look, let's see. Big up, Michael. Thank you for putting that in, and Lubo, thank you for answering it. I mean, guys, I just want to show you this as well. I think sometimes we forget context. I think all of us are guilty of this in life, of forgetting context. So when I see people say, oh, Thomas Frank, 10th, what's he won? I don't think people actually do their homework. And I'm going to show you, right? This is Brentford in the transfer market. Hopefully everyone can see that, right? This is Brentford in the transfer market. So this is this summer, right? So if Spurs buyed, terrible grammar. Spurs buyed. If Spurs bought Michael Coyote, our fans would have a fit. If we bought Keller, we'd have a fit. I also want people to look at the right-hand side as we go down these columns. Look at the players they lose every year. Look at the players they lose, and he still keeps going, right? So if we scroll down here, let's go to. So this was last year. Look, David Raya gone, Ivan Toney gone, bringing in Igor Thiago, Sepp Vandenberg, Gustavo Nunes, Fabio Carvalho, Jadon Magoma, right? Look at these people that they're bringing in and going out, right? Look at the year before, Collins, Sade, Flecken, right? Look at these people, right? You go the year before, Lewis Potter, Damsgaard, Hickey, yeah? Losing players like Christian Eriksen. Year before, Aya, Onyeka, Visser, Miles Pete Harris, losing good players every year and bringing in absolutely nobodies, right? Why can he do that there and get that team to 10th, but yet we suddenly think he's not good enough for a team that have just finished 17th in the league? I don't get it, Lou, but I genuinely don't understand it. I don't know what we want. I don't know what we want from a coach, from a manager.
I think fans need to get. I've just said before that straight after, about 20 minutes after the game finished in Amsterdam, Poch came over with the team and his team of coaches, and the togetherness between the fans and Poch and his team was just superb. And that's where we need to get back to, that feeling of everybody being in it together, because it's so fractured since that night. It really has. And it's a shame, you know. I just don't understand it. Do people not want Spurs to win and play well? Are they happy because the guy spoke well? You know, defeat after defeat after defeat, and it's okay. I don't get it. I don't know. You have. I mean, I see people like Ozzy Ange making comments on here. You know,
the clues in the name. The clues in the name. The clues in the name.
That's right.
Ozzy Ange. Clues in the name.
Why don't people judge managers on performance? I don't get it. It's, you know, I mean, there's one guy who abuses you, Sav, and abused it, and has abused half the YouTube gang because he thinks he's fighting for Australia. It's crap. It's nothing to do with being an Aussie. It's about us judging a manager based on his ability, not on his nationality. And a lot of and the other part of the fan base that supports him. Listen, people are entitled to do and say whatever they want. Because I feel one way doesn't necessarily make me 100% correct. But judge somebody on ability, not on anything else. And we've got to get, you know, the fan base. If fan base don't pull together, you know, you look at all successful teams, and everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet, from the chairman right down to the tea lady to the fan base. We're so far away from that at the moment.
Yeah. By the way, Akuva, I'll bring you in, Terry. Again, this is why when you tell me about my team, because you said you, not us, so you're telling me you're not Spurs. You can't tell me or Kuva or Lubo or any fan that we should just accept losing 26 games in a year, 22 league games and finishing 17th. Kuva, that's fair of me to say that, isn't it? No one can tell me to be happy with being 17th and losing 22 games.
Absolutely. And an analogy I just used earlier today was that Europa League performance. It's a blip. It's a blip in an otherwise really negative trend for the last 66 league games. You know, stretching back to that's a ridiculous amount where we're losing more than half of our games. The analogy will be you go into the bookies and you win, you know, 20 grand or something. So have a really great day. you're not going to go out and now put a mortgage down, slap a mortgage down on a huge mansion based on that, are you?
No,
Because you haven't got the income.
Right.
You need that consistent month after month, guaranteed source of money. And in footballing terms, you get up there. Your league position is the gauge of how consistently good your team is compared to its rivals. We need that. We need that guaranteed source of income, Europe season after season, not dependent on winning a trophy to get into Europe, but by league position, absolutely guaranteeing it. We had that lovely little run under Pochettino doing it. We remember seeing Arsenal down the league and finishing, was it back-to-back 8th place or whatever it was when Lego Ed took over. And we're having a good laugh at that because we knew them being down there is not good for the club.
Right.
They were struggling. They had to get back in the top 4. They had to. Now they are the ones there, sat in that comfortable position. We like to laugh the fact they didn't win anything, and let's face it is hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny.
They don't win anything. But they are consistently up there, and they're consistently looking to improve on it. Hope they don't, but it's a good place to be, and I think I'd like to be cemented in the top 4 year after year.
Kuva, do you know what? Go on, Lubo, go on.
I was just about to say, just to sort of just simplify how I feel, is this not a fair assessment? We talk about, Europe against the league, but if you're looking at the teams that we played in Europe, lower Premier League to Championship level, would you say? Would you agree? The teams we played?
It's still a cup competition. I don't want to belittle it really, but
no, I'm not diminishing it at all.
There could have been tougher games for sure. There's seasons where it's been a much more fiercely contested competition as well.
But if you look at his record against the top 10 Premier League teams, and we've won 4 out of 20 games, and then you look at the teams that wouldn't get into the top 10, i.e. the Europa League teams that we played against, then that's Ange's level. Would you not agree that he's found his level? He's won a European competition against teams that wouldn't finish top 10 in the Premier League. And for me, when you're talking about, for me, I'm just sort of working on facts. Rangers wouldn't be top 10. Roma wouldn't be top 10. Don't think Gala would be. Frankfurt possibly. I'm just talking about the teams that we played against.
But we've also got a really bad record against the bottom 3 this season, haven't we?
Okay, but if you look at it, 14, what do we get? We got 24 points against the clubs in the other 9 clubs.
I don't think we're even consistent enough to say it's like we're better against the bottom half of the table team.
Well,
because we lose to plenty of those as well.
Kuva, let me give you the facts, right? Let me give everyone the facts. If you look at that top 14, right? The top 14 there, right? Tottenham Hotspur have won 6 games out of 28 against the top 14 this season. 6, right? 6 games against the top 14. So when these people are telling me Ange has built a winning mentality, Ange hadn't lost the dressing room yet. Well, hang on. If a winning mentality and not losing the dressing room is 6 wins against the top 14, bearing in mind, this is who those 6 wins were against, right? 1 against Man City, right? 1 against Villa, 2 against Brentford, 1 against Everton, and 1 against West Ham. That is absolutely shambolic, right? Now, against the top 10, right? Against the top 10, over 2 seasons, right? So that is, was it 38 games? Because it's 20 games this year against the top 10. Last season was 18 games against the top 10 because we were in it. Do you know in those 38 games, Kuva, how many times we've beaten top 10 opposition out of 38 attempts under Ange?
3.
It was 10. 20, just over 25%.
That's better
right?
than I thought. Big up Ange.
So whichever way you spin this, he has done dreadfully. Now, Ben Kay just put the stats in there. And Daniel Levy alluded to it in his statement, right? 78 points from 66 games. Lubo worked out yesterday, 1.18. For 20 months, 20 months, by the way, which is a bloody long time, right? 20 months, 66 league games, he's averaging 1.18 points per game. And I'm led to believe that things will change. This guy, I'm led to believe it was only because this year we had some injury. Well, what's the excuse for the entire 66 games over 20 months? This year, Cooper, I don't know if you've ever seen me put this up. This one's my favourite. If this doesn't show how bad Ange is, and again, people like Terry Masri in the chat who say you, as in Spurs, like you're an Ange fan, not a Spurs fan, right? Look at this. This is him every 6 months, Cooper. Starts at 1.89 for his, every 19 games, so every half a season. 1.89 for the first 19. The back half, 19, 1.58. It then drops to 1.26. It then drops to 0.74, right? That is utterly disgusting. And it shows you, Kuva, that the downward trend over the 2 years is not even that. It's that. It's literally a nosedive into absolute, I would say mediocrity, but I think that's being kind. So, no, I don't feel sorry for Ange. No, I don't think he should have had the start of next season. And no, I don't think he's a good manager.
Yeah, 22 games, league games lost in a season is not mediocrity. It's poor.
Cool.
It's very poor. Remember the amount of seasons where we used to say you need to get to 40 points to be safe from relegation? We didn't manage that this season, just gone past.
I know.
So in another season, that was down we would have gone. We're just lucky that the teams that come up are the chasm between the team that's just been promoted and the established Premier League teams now is bigger than it's ever been. And let's be fair as well. I'm not going to say with this current squad that we definitely should have got top 4 or anything like that.
No.
But I do think we should certainly be finishing in the top half. I would, like I said earlier, I believe 8th place should be a minimum requirement if you're actually rebuilding and trying to, set a solid foundation for going forward. You need to be in the top half. You need to have won more games than you've lost. You need to have improved what you did last season, and we've capitulated from last season.
Do you know what I keep hearing? Oh, I don't want to start again. A new project. Kuva, we're 17th in the table. Start again from what? We're as low as you could go without being in the championship. What are we starting again?
Do you want to continue like this, though?
Exactly. Some people are going, we're going to have to forget everything we've done for 2 years. What's that? I mean, I don't know if you know this, guys. I know you probably know it, Lubo, but if we look at Tottenham's goals against 2 seasons under Ange, Tottenham have conceded. We've conceded 126 goals.
26.
Right? 61 last year. If my maths is right, 61 and 65. Right? Tottenham Hotspur have conceded 126 goals in 2 seasons. The 2 seasons before that was 103. The 2 seasons before that was 93. And the 2 seasons before that was 75. Right? We've gone from 66 points down to 38. The last time we got less than 40 points. Anyone know the answer?
70, 75, 76.
No, it wasn't.
No,
the year after.
All right.
76. It was 76, 77. Right?
Got 33 points.
33. So every record this man is setting, guys, I still can't see how bloody diabolical it is that people are going, but we let him go. Like, look, my man Terry, I love this. Playing Archie Gray as a centre-back. Cool. Why did he have to do that? Could it be because he brought back Mickey van der Ven and Romero when they both weren't fit and played them in the same game against Chelsea? Got them injured for another 3 months. When you're saying play Davis and Dragusin at the back, Radu Dragusin is an international defender. So what are we doing here? Radu Dragusin is an international centre-half who our fans went doolally for, if you remember, guys, when we beat Bayern Munich to his signing. Ben Davies is an international defender. Ben Davies is a vastly experienced player. Ben Davies and Dragusin, is that worse than what Ipswich have at the back? Is that worse than what Brentford have at the back with Pinnock, Vandenberg, Collins, Ben Mee? Are we really doing the excuses are just, I mean, at the start of year, he only bought Solanke at the start of year and a bunch of kids. Hate to break it to you, Terry. Your manager said, I didn't want to buy experience. Didn't he, guys? He said, I didn't want to buy experience. I want to develop it. What? The excuses, guys, it's too much for me. It's too much.
He's developed a losing experience all season, and then shown a way of winning something as well. So it's quite a ride. In fact, I'd say not many players will have an experience like that. Diabolical league season, then win a major European trophy. That's like, it's pretty unusual.
Do you know what? Spot on. Lubo, if we'd had a really good European campaign, like, you know, beaten top teams along the way, you could probably turn around and go, all right. But he's talking about throwing league games to beat Alkmaar. Alkmaar's top goal scorer is Troy Bloody Parrott, who is awful. Right? Bodo, the worst ever Man United team. This is who we're saying greatest manager for 41 years. I'm like, what are we doing?
Listen, at the end of the day, he won the cup. Doesn't matter how you get there. It's got us into the Champions League. So I don't care that the teams weren't of a great level. Doesn't bother me. It was just it was massive that we got back into the Champions League for a number of reasons, and we needed to win it. We would, you know, if we'd have finished 17th with no Europe, I mean, we'd have been in the wilderness, wouldn't we? This coming season, you know, what better players would have joined us? Now we've got half a chance. Now we've got half a chance of getting one or two players maybe that wouldn't have joined us if we hadn't have been in Europe next season. So I don't subscribe to this. Look who we beat. We only beat this, and this. We only beat QPR, Exeter, Hull, Coventry, Wolves, and City in '81 when we won the FA Cup. Nobody said, "Oh, it's an easy draw." So to me, we won the cup. You can only play the teams you're in the competition with. And he won it. So full marks to him for that. At the end of the day, you go into it and you're number one out of 36. Full marks.
Yeah, but Luba, I'm not knocking that. My point was, did we really, and by the way, you know I don't believe that he threw it. I just think he's terrible.
No, sure.
Did he really have to throw half a league season because we would play Alkmaar two Thursdays in a row?
He didn't throw half a league season because we're only 8 points. We're only at the end of January. Before that winning run, when we beat Brentford, United, and Ipswich 3-3, we were only 8 points off Wolves. I think we had 24, and Wolves had 16 at the time points. So he was in no position to throw the league at the end in December or at the end of Jan. When he won those 3 games, and we were, I think, 16 points clear of the relegation zone with 12 to go, then you can look at it and think to yourself, well, you know, Ipswich and Leicester have only got 16, 17 points from 26. So the chances of them getting another 16 plus more than what we're going to get in the next 12 games is unrealistic. So he was safe. By the time we beat Ipswich 4-1 in February, 16 clear with 12 to go, he was safe. Since then, the form has been appalling. We got 5 points from the last 12 games. And I honestly think that's what did for him. If he'd have got 18 points, if he'd have finished halfway, if he'd have got half the points that were available, those extra 13 points would have put us on 51. Not great, but at least that would have been, for me, would he have kept his job? Then it's a 50-50 if we'd have finished on 51 points. Because that probably would have finished us, what, mid-table, I would have thought?
51 points would have got him 13th.
Okay.
But Cooper made a great point.
Maybe not.
Cooper made a great point. Why didn't Crystal Palace throw the league? Crystal Palace have beaten teams like Man City and Villa to win the FA Cup.
Sure.
What? Fulham. Why didn't Man City have to throw the... I'm sorry. Why didn't Crystal Palace have to throw league games to be able to win those?
Well,
You've
got a different mentality from the top downwards at Palace. It all comes from the top and it works its way all the way down. And these guys are competitive. They want to win every single game. And that feeds down. You got someone like Glasner, who's a class act. I mean, look what he did back end of last season, 23-24. Palace had a fantastic run. I think they won 5 or 6 their last games. Smoked Villa 5-0 in the last game as well. I know Villa had already qualified for the Champions League, but you go out and you hammer them. And then he lost Anderson and who was the other player? He lost 2, didn't he? Mm. He lost 2 big players. Elise.
Every year, by the way, they lose these top players.
Injuries galore. First few games, and the first time he was able to put together Glasner a strong side with Eze and Walton in was the game against us, which is why I wasn't surprised they beat us 1-0 because Glasner's a good coach, and that was the first time that he had a full strength team pretty much. And look with full strength teams, look how he's taken them on. They've just gone from strength to strength this season.
Yeah.
And they go.
By the way, you know he's one of my first choices as manager replacement. You know he is. I'm just guessing. Yeah. I'm guessing that because his name is not in that anyone, no one's talking about it from the. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. I'm stuttering all over the place. His name is not being mentioned by the likes of Romanos and Ben Jacobs. I'm guessing that we've probably asked the question and probably been given the answer of.
I'm sure.
No, or listen, it costs X amount to get me out. But I love Glasner. I think Glasner's a great manager. Glasner, I watch Palace. And again, I just go, you're really organised. I watch Palace and go, I know what you guys work on in the training pitch. I watch Spurs and go, have you guys met each other before? like, did you just meet in the car park? Remember when you were younger guys playing Sunday League? Remember, you couldn't get, you only had 10 players and someone went, I'll bring my mate along. Some big fat bloke who's smoking cigars with a McDonald's breakfast in the car park waiting to play. And you go, where do you play, mate? Anywhere. I feel like when we play, it's that. I feel like we're so exposed.
Well, that's done now. It's done. Let's, thankfully, I did say to you a few weeks ago, didn't I? We'll look back maybe in June and we'll look back and think the last 2 years of chaos is now behind us. Mm-hmm. I said that to you in March, didn't I? And so it's proven.
Lubo, you could take this. Why didn't Palace? Why would they? Why would Crystal Palace sack Glasner? Just asking. I mean, 12th place for Crystal Palace. Should Crystal Palace be higher than 12th place?
I don't know where maybe Jurgen can come back and answer that.
Yeah, Jurgen, why would you? What a really weird question. Again, Jurgen, if you want to put us on the same pedestal as Crystal Palace, then who are the ones with the bad attitude? Is it people like me or is it people like you that think we're as big as Palace? Crystal Palace, if you guys remember, about 15 games to go of the season, or at least at the halfway stage, we were miles above Palace. We were miles above Everton. Kuba, like you said, we were miles above Wolves. Right? We were above Palace, West Ham. We were above Man United. And we just went boom, 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 boom. Madness. Madness.
The biggest way you separate what happens at Palace from us as well is spending power.
Of course.
Although we don't always do it, we have got the ability to spend way more than Palace can. So it puts us supposed to give us a significant advantage. Any club that's got the money is supposed to have an advantage. because they can literally buy their way into having a better squad than their rivals. But we show that isn't always the case. Everton, that they did it as well. They did it spectacularly, nearly going out of business spending money on rubbish. But they should be doing a lot better. So Villa have turned it around, but us, it's consistently like this. It's we've got the ability to do so much better. We could absolutely wipe the floor with other teams by outspending them, but we do it so badly all the time. So that's why Glasner's doing well there, because he's got less of an advantage than the Spurs manager should have. Yeah, he's finishing above us and winning an FA Cup. It's a bloody good achievement what he's done there. So
and been missing some of his best players all season, Cooper. People like Decore have just missed an entire season.
Yeah.
You know, it's mad. By the way, we're the third highest spenders in the last 5 years of Premier League football. We're the third highest spenders. Now, I know there's a difference between spending and spending well, but like we said earlier, we said about Frank. Frank loses players every year. Crystal Palace every year lose their best players. This year, they're probably going to lose Guehi and Eze, right? But these clubs, they scout and they go again. For some reason, we're still talking about Harry bloody Kane, Coover. 2 years on, I've still seen fans go, oh, yeah, but we don't have Kane. All right. Neither does any other football club in the world other than Bayern Munich.
Come back, Harry.
Come back, Harry, please. Please, Harry. Listen, let's look forward. Let's not look in the past. Let's look forward. Let's do a quick few super chats. Rob Brown has said, what's the main difference between Frank and Glasner? That's a great question. I'm guessing for me, it would be the FA Cup and the Europa League wins that Glasner's got under his belt. But Frank hasn't had the opportunity to work at a club that should be expected to win a trophy yet. When people say he's not won anything, who goes into a season, guys? I mean, I'll ask you two. Does anyone go into a season thinking Brentford are my favourites to win the FA Cup or the League Cup this year? Like, got to be honest, haven't we? We've got to be honest. Is that the main difference, or do you think there's anything else that separates Glasner and Frank? Really?
I think they've both done well in the Premier League. But yeah, Glasner's won 2 trophies, so I suppose his stock is higher than Frank, based on trophies. On coaching, I don't know. I think both of them are very good coaches.
Yeah.
So if we get either of them, you know, the improvement in coaching, it will be immense next season.
Based purely on this season, you'd say Glasner's the better coach, wouldn't you? But Frank has been here in the Premiership for a few seasons now. He's proved that he can keep a club like Brentford in the Premiership. That is no mean feat. So I think Glasner, you don't know, because I mean, next season, perhaps it all goes pear-shaped for him at Palace. We don't know yet, do we? So it'd be more of an unknown, although this season, taken as a one-off season, fantastic.
And with people, like when you look at the players, again, look at Munoz. Who knew Munoz? Who knew Chris Richards? Mitchell from the youth team. Who knew Lacroix? Right? These are people that if we Jeffrey Lerma, Michael, what's his name? Will Hughes, Sarr, Mateta. If I'd said to you guys, that's our 11 this season, our fans would lose their mind. Who are these crap players that we're signing? These managers make it work. Big up to you for that message, Rob.
We kind of say that about our team as well, don't we?
Yeah, but different levels, right? Like different levels. If we put Will Hughes in central midfield, we'd all be going batshit crazy. By the way, for anyone who cares about the England team, it is Jordan Pickford, Burn, Konza, Reece James. I think he's gone for a back three of Konza, Burn and James. So I can't even work out what he's done. No, I'm not even going to try and pretend I'm working out what he's doing with that team. Sorry, can't work it out. Thank you, Ryan, for becoming a channel member. Tuesday or Wednesday next week will be the first channel member show for the summer. We'll be doing one a week, and then we'll continue that next season. So watch out for those. Big up, Ryan. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Big up, George, who has gifted a membership as well. Thank you, George. Always very generous. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you, Ban. And whoever George gave that to, I'm sure has said thank you. So big up to you. It's my Dominican Republic airport friend. Always worrying when someone comes up to you in an airport and says, "Are you Savva?" And you're thinking, "Oh, fucking hell, am I going to get punched in the face?" Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's happening here? But I had a lovely chat with you and your partner. Lovely. And you met my wife as well. Money pouring in from every orifice. That's a good word, by the way. But we have to sell to buy. Something doesn't add up. We'll talk in a minute about this because Lubo loves it. Lubo loves talking about three things. One, how his all-time 11 would beat mine. Two, Archie Gray. And three, he loves a little bit of chat about Daniel Levy. So we'll go there in a minute. Big up to you, Mike. I'll bring this up in a second. Big up to Boris. Said Frank spent 260 million in 7 years and just had 400 million in 2 seasons. Boris agreed. When people are comparing, it's just madness. This manager, Frank, has spent 35 million on average for 7 years. 35 million for 7 years. That is absolutely mad. Big up to you, Boris. Appreciate that. Big up to Jordan. Very generous indeed. He said every time we lost a league game under Ange, fans said context was important. So using context, the year we reached the Champions League final, Brentford finished 11th in the Championship. Frank deserves more respect. Mate, he's done a wonderful job. When they came up, everyone said they're gone.
Yeah.
He brought them up. They've had 2 top half finishes in 4 years. Think about that for a moment. Because most teams that come up go straight back down. This guy's got 2 top half finishes in 4 seasons whilst losing. We've lost Kane. They lost Tony. I'm not saying he's as good as Kane, but he was their Kane. He was their goal scorer. He was their leader. They lost him, brought in Thiago to replace him, and Thiago's just missed the entire season with injury. So big up to you, Jordan. Completely agree. He deserves more respect. And this isn't a super chat, but Alex, and we'll use this to segue into Daniel Levy, shall we? Gents, I'm not even busting my gut over Ange getting sacked. It's that I've seen so many fans letting Levy off the hook, saying he's done a good job. Makes my blood boil. Where's the self-respect? For me, and I'll throw this to Lubo first, then I'll bring in Kuva. For me, I think it's about decompartmentalizing, which, by the way, is a magnificent word, but really difficult to get right. Right? For me, it's about decompartmentalizing. Even you said yesterday, Lubo, on this situation, not 24 years, not Ange has done, Levy has done the right thing. He has seen that the club is going like that, and he has pulled the plug. He has done the right thing. When people are saying we've let him off the hook, who's let him off the hook? What does that mean, Lubo? Why is he let off the hook just because he's made a correct decision?
Because he made the decision to bring money in who brought Ange in the first place.
Sure, but no one's letting him off the hook. We're just saying he's done the right thing right now, right?
Yes.
Doesn't mean we have to praise him, but he's done the right thing.
The problem is that all the mistakes he makes, he's just not accountable to anybody. Hopefully that's changing now. Hopefully by Lewis putting his man Charrington on the board, hopefully this is now changing. Because Levy has got away with murder for 20, literally from not murder, but you know what I mean. He's got away with so many mistakes for 25 years, for the best part of 25 years. Not every year, but most years. You know, the transfer policy that we used to have going back years, he'd never buy players till the last week of the transfer window because he thought he'd get a deal. So all the other clubs would get their players in first, early. They'd integrate them pre-season. Not Tottenham. We'd still be out looking for players in August, so the team wouldn't be strengthened, and we drop points that affected the league position. That's Tottenham. And then we'd pick up the players in the last few days, and the manager would have no time to integrate them into the team before the season started because we're 3 weeks into the season. So that was just one policy that ran for years and years and years. The policy of panicking at the first set, as soon as something bad goes, as soon as something bad happens, we have a bad run of form, the manager's gone. You know, if the fans turned on Levy in the grounds, the manager would be gone. That would take the pressure off him. instead of like Conte, what Conte said with that rant, instead of actually pulling him in and saying, do you know what, we've had to think about this, you're actually not wrong. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can change it. It was gone. What Conte said was spot on, absolutely spot on.
Yes and no for me. What Conte said, absolutely well done, have a medal. The way he did it, you don't survive that. Surely that is the conversation you have face to face, isn't it? It's like I think when you start airing, Coover, let me ask you this. When you start airing all your dirty laundry in public, it's like when YouTubers need to mug each other off on YouTube rather than actually having a conversation with each other. I think you've lost. And I think the moment Conte did that, it was like, yeah, well done. Thanks for saying it. But Daniel Levy can't sit there and go, oh, shit, he's right, can he? Daniel Levy, as the owner or the chairman of football, the Spurs Football Club, has to go, mate, you've just absolutely disrespected me in public. Like, isn't it a bit of a catch-22 with what Conte did?
Yeah, in a way, because, I mean, you've got to know that you can't just piss off your owner publicly, your employer publicly, and expect no backlash from it. It'd be very unusual where you can get away with that. You would either have to be an incredibly charismatic person who can wrap the chairman around their little finger, or it's a chairman with incredible self-restraint and a longer-term vision of what's going to be useful for the club, and they'd take it on board. I can't think of a chairman like that, and I can't think of a manager that would get away with it either. You could get away with something like that if you've won bucket loads of trophies. Sir Alex Ferguson could have got away with it after 20 years of farming.
Could get away with it, right?
Could get away with it, yeah, exactly. And there'll be a discussion behind the scenes, obviously. And being told I'm not happy with that, but publicly it would float. Not for us though, not for in Conte's position. Although I agree with every single word he said. I think most people did.
I don't doubt that. But the thing is, that, as well, guys, for me, the Conte situation was very difficult. And by the way, there's 888 of you in here. 888, all the eights. Only 361 likes. We should be on 500. Smash that like button. And guys and girls, I've just pinned the subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed already, please do, as we chase down the magical 20K. Coover, I remember when we were doing these shows when I had about 400 subscribers. So back in the days, when I was like, oh my God, 20 people are watching us. Oh, it's amazing. So please smash that button. Lubo, the other thing with Conte though, and again, I don't know if you agree with this, Conte for 3 to 6 months was asking to not be here. Like his body language, everything he said in interviews, it just looked like he didn't want to be here. Hence why there wasn't a sacking. Hence why it was a mutual parting of ways. I just didn't think he wanted to be here.
Do you think 3 friends dying in that period of time and his own health problems mentally would have had something to do with that?
Oh, mate, for sure. I'm not saying nothing bad. I'm just saying.
No. So what
he wanted to be, his head wasn't there. Like he wasn't there.
He was in a different place, wasn't he?
Yeah.
To where he could have, where he would have been without all that tragedy. So, but he took us from 9th to 4th. When he left, we were in 4th. So for me, 4th is the ceiling that any manager could probably get to with Levy. I think Poch walked into a situation where Paul Mitchell had done a brilliant job before Poch joined. Finished off by bringing in Dele, Wanyama, Sonny, and Toby, and had a terrific team there, and massively overachieved. I mean, totally overachieved for Spurs to finish second, to finish third, second, third, fourth, and in the 4th year reach a or 5th to start with, and then finish up in Madrid.
He was a coach.
Right. And he had good players. Players.
Say he had good players. You've got to remember when when we're talking about Poch, right? We're talking about Poch.
Yeah. We're talking about
When Poch came into the club,
Yeah.
Walker and Rose weren't what he made them into, right? Let's be brutally honest. Christian Eriksen was a decent young player we bought, but we hadn't seen anything like what we saw him get out of him. Dele Alli was an 18-year-old kid from League One. Son hadn't done anything, right? Harry Kane was a kid who hadn't even broken into our first team. And suddenly, Moussa Dembele wasn't doing anything, really. For me, I was a bit like, what's he done? For me, that's what happens when you get a coach. You get a coach in who finds a way to uplift them. This is why I'm so confused, everyone turning their noses up at Frank. A coach will, we all know Levy didn't back him. We all know that, right? I don't think any of us are saying he did. But look what can be done with players, with good coaching. That's why I don't understand the nose turning up from everyone to Thomas Frank. I just don't get it. Or Silva, or whoever.
Well, I was going to say also with the likes of Pochettino, he brings his own coaching staff with him, doesn't he? Conte likes to do that too. So wherever they go, they've got a consistent way of doing things with people they can trust. With Ange, I find it a bit weird. I've always found it weird when a manager comes in and says, "I'm not going to bring any of my staff with me or anything."
Agreed.
It's like, and expect everything to go smoothly. It's a little odd, but respect in a way, I suppose, because he's saying that people shouldn't lose their jobs just because I'm arriving. But is that really what he's going to be? What he wants to do when everything depends on you succeeding? Nah, I don't think so. It's different. It's different, isn't it? Different kind of approach with some people.
Sure.
I don't know. I really don't know where we're going to be going at the moment. I'm sitting here thinking, what shall I say next? Oh, this will be relevant. No, it won't, because I don't know what the hell's happening at the club.
See, I'm just hoping that maybe we get Frank and then Mbeumo comes with him. You know what I mean? I'm in that sort of place. But look, by the way, for anyone who cares, Ait Nouri has just passed his medical at Manchester City. So Ait Nouri is going to be a Man City player very, very shortly. 5-year deal to be signed in the next 24 hours, according to Romano. Kepa is close to signing a deal for Arsenal, according to Romano. He's going to be a £5 million backup to Raya. It's a great deal. 5 million as your backup goalkeeper for Raya. That's not a bad deal. What else has happened in the world of football today? Loads of stuff going on. Garnacho is leaving Man United. Decision has been confirmed by the player and the club. He understands that 3 clubs from the Premier League are very keen on him, and also by Leverkusen as well. So that should be interesting. See what happens with Garnacho. But listen, do you get that? I know we always look and go, oh, but it's Spurs and where are we going? When we do get a new manager, are you one of these who goes, oh, new era, exciting, let's see what this manager does? Or is it more of the, oh, not this again, like, oh, bloody hell. Which camp are you in?
I'll let you know when we know who it is.
Right.
No, I'm doing the same reset as every season. It doesn't matter. It's just for the hell of it. I'm going. Usually the quad is on, but I'm not going to say that this season. That'd be ridiculous because we got the Super Cup as well. So it's the quintet is on.
The quintet. We're starting off by winning all 5. I mean, Lubo, are you in a play? I mean, I put out a poll earlier and I asked, how are you feeling today? That's all I asked. And the options were, I miss Ange, excited for the new chapter, just get Levy out, or none of the above. And at the moment, we've had 1,200 votes and 45%. The winner is excited for a new chapter. Lubo, I know how much you despise Levy, but are you excited in any way, Lubo, that somebody different's coming in and we're going to have a different approach to playing football games?
I'm looking forward to going to matches again. Do I think we can hit the heights under Levy? No, I don't think anything will change. So it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both. That's why for me the most important week is this week in the Boardroom. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? I'm reading that he's on the way out, and Charrington's going to be an interim chairman. That's on social media. How true that is, Who knows? I think that was one of Lee McQueen's.
So what are you expecting if that happens? Because again, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Sure.
You say a lot. I want Levy out. I want him gone. All right, cool. Levy leaves the building this week. What's the new chairman, woman, man, whoever it is, unicorn, bicycle, microwave, whatever? What do they have to do for you to go, this is what we've been missing? What is it that a new owner, not new chairman, needs to do on the football side to impress you and take us to the next level?
Well, I think that Charrington's been brought in to instigate a sale on behalf of ENIC.
I agree.
And I think that will be his priority. So for me, we're relying on. I mean, it's not even been announced yet, but Perisic, when his ban ends in 22 days, hopefully he'll start work on the 30th of June. And I'm sure he's working behind the scenes, and hopefully by then we'll be in talks with several players. We can get a few players over the line, strengthen the team, by then hopefully a new manager will be in as well. And we can build from there. It's not going to be a situation where a new manager comes in on Monday, players start coming in on Tuesday. I think it's going to take 2 or 3 months now till the end of the window to finally get everything settled down and see how we go. And hopefully we'll have a decent season this year, and hopefully next season, 26-27, we'll have a settled club. We'll have a chairman. We'll have a takeover with a chairman who wants success, and all of a sudden the whole dynamic changes of the club. They can see that owners are in, they want success, and managers will be more inclined to come than know that they're going to come here and and it's going to be budget time. So, Levy expects, as I said, Champions League football on Europa League budget. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't work that way. Occasionally it can happen. Occasionally it can work like this season, but I think I saw a stat 7 times we're in the Champions League in 25 years that he's been here. So that's a 28% success rate.
I mean, Kuva, do you agree with all that? Is there anything else you want to see? Because one of the key things that I think we've got to be very careful of, and I was having this chat with Sean Butler the other day. Big up Sean. I know he's getting a lot of stick at the moment as well as me. Us people that didn't change our minds are getting a lot of stick about the club. But we were saying we've got to be very careful. And by the way, I do want Levy to go out. But I do think, Kuva, that a lot of people think that somebody new coming in automatically means loads and loads of money spent, loads and loads of massive wages spent, top players coming through the door, and suddenly we're going to be beating City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, etc. to titles.
That'll do me. Good night.
Okay, thank you. There we go. That's what we've got from the next chairman. It's not going to be that straightforward, is it, Kuva? Because these days, Lubo said it earlier in the show, Villa have got money, Newcastle, Chelsea, City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United. So what do we do? How do we get better?
What are we going to get? If you're asking that, I have no idea, mate. Absolutely no idea. I'm not even going to speculate on it because it could be anything. We could be talking about continuation of what's been going on. It could get worse. It could get a lot better. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But what do I actually want to see from new ownership or new chairman coming in? I'd love to see from a chairman addressing the fans at the start of his tenure and saying, this is where I want the club to be in 5 years. This is where I want us to be in 10 years. This is what I want us to achieve, what I want us to win. For me, it'll be saying, like the Newcastle owner said, we want to win the Premier League within 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
I want to see that at this club. Somebody coming in to make a statement like that to show that they are accountable. So we don't get season after season with, we want to make the club competitive. Because Sheffield United were competitive. Ipswich were competitive. What does that mean? It just means you're going to play some football games. No, I want to see a plan, a roadmap to success in some way or other. something that's believable, something that's showing an understanding of what's going on. You've got to make concessions. You've got to say there are the likes of Liverpool well established at the top there, Man City with their spending power. Chelsea aren't going to stop anytime soon, are they? Same sort of deal with their spending power. Manchester United are going to find their groove again at some point. They're too big a club to stay down. So they're going to be up there as well. Newcastle with their new ownership as well. So there's an acceptance that it won't be easy doing things. But I do want to have somebody coming in and said, that is what the plan is. We are going to try and break that monopoly from these other clubs for win the league title. For me, that would be the ultimate. I don't care about the Champions League. I love the FA Cup and everything and its history of this club, but I want to see us win a league title. I want to see somebody come in aggressively saying, this is the plan. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to play this kind of football. We're going to stick with and I will use the word philosophy, a philosophy on how to play. I want to see attacking, aggressive football spiced up with a bit of grit in it. A bit like the early 80s team had, where we had phenomenal talent. And we also had some really gritty, hard players to go with it that really keep you afloat. And we got success there, a couple of FA Cups and a UEFA Cup. And we were going close in the league in several seasons as well. I want to see some of that, and I want to see somebody say it rather than just this complete kicking the can down the road. Oh, well, we'll try and do better next season, or we'll try and make the fans proud of us. No, just come out and say, I want to win the league. If anything, I actually respected Ange a little bit for saying that he wants to win the league. I thought that's a breath of fresh air, rather than just coming in and saying, we'll try and do our best for the club. No, have ambition, have a target, go for it. If you fail, you can look back at it and say, okay, this went wrong, that went wrong. Then everybody can also see that. And
at least you tried.
What are you going to do to fix it now? Do you tweak what's going on, or do you have to revamp and start again from scratch? But if you continue just saying, be competitive, it means nothing. That means turn up, put boots on a Saturday afternoon, and go out and run around a bit. Wow.
Yeah, look, let me ask you both this then. I mean, there's a lot of, I'm somebody who reads the chat a lot. I'm seeing a lot of chat now about winning mentality from Ange. I mean, my man Alex, who I don't agree with most of the things he says as far as mentality goes, he's got a much better mentality than Pochettino. I don't ever remember Pochettino throwing half a league season to try and win a cup though. So I'm not hearing anything about Ange's mentality. And Ange's mentality is we can see goals for fun and he doesn't tie anything to address it. But what I want to talk about, guys, is there's a lot of talk. The players are unhappy, right? Now, my theory on this, I'll tell you mine, and then I'll let you two go for however long. Boo bloody who? The players are unhappy. Are these the same players that have lost 26 games this season? Are these the same players that have got a get out of jail free card because they've won the Europa League? Are these the same players that were sitting on the sideline when they got subbed off against AZ Alkmaar saying to each other, it's the same shit every game or the same thing every game? Are these the players that no one was saying anything about Ange? Then suddenly he wins the Europa League and, oh, they're going to be missing him. And, oh, this player will leave if Ange leaves. Guys, for me, what a load of nonsense. These are paid Premier League footballers, paid very well, right? For me, this is absolute nonsense that, oh, so-and-so wants to go if Ange does. What's that? Because the new manager might hold them accountable. Because the new manager might actually drill it into them and make them work hard in games and not lose games. Where are you at with all this? With the players being upset and, oh, boo-hoo and...
Go on, mate.
It's a non-discussion, isn't it? Players will go there, they'll turn up for pre-season, and they'll, as soon as they look at their first pay packet, they'll forget about who the manager is. Can you imagine, just say it's Glasner or just say it's Xavi. Can you imagine Romero turning around and saying, I'm not playing under Xavi because I want Ange back. I mean, it's nonsense. It's just pie in the sky rubbish. So no, sorry. For me, it's no discussion there.
I actually can believe they are unhappy, because what other manager is going to put up them performing like that and losing more than half their games, getting the club into 17th position in the league, and then the manager actually is stupid enough to try and carry the can for them, make it out like it's all on him. It was brave stuff. I mean, there's things that Ange did I kind of admired, even though it was working very badly. But I think when he comes out and says, "Yep, it's all on me," I thought that's a brave move, because saying that all the transfers are basically his say so, all the tactics are his say so, the way they play is always his say so. He did break that a little bit this season against Frankfurt, when they quizzed about why did you adopt this pragmatic style, and Ange just said, "I didn't tell the players to play like that. They chose to. They took it upon themselves." And I was thinking last season he wouldn't have said that. He would have just said, "It's all on me. If it's not working or we didn't score, it's on me. It's my doing. Players are above everything." I think these players are. I think Savva summed it up with "boo hoo hoo." Get on with it. They're getting paid stupid amounts of money.
Yeah.
Just go out, play to the best of your ability, or get out, because you're not worthy of the badge, and they're certainly not worthy of the money they're getting paid. So, you've got to expect bare minimum of maximum effort going in from players each time you go out on the pitch. If you are not getting that, or players are more worried about complaining about conditions or which manager they want, it shouldn't matter what managers are. If there was no manager, they should be going out there and playing their socks off.
Absolutely.
If it was just like, backroom staff telling them what the team sheet is, go out there, do your best, because you got a crowd roaring you on. You got people paying money for this, and the professional pride as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be a pampered little, non-trier who expects to be carried all the time by other people, or do you want to actually step out there, be a man, take responsibility for yourself, play your socks off, put in the absolute 100% effort in every game, and conduct yourself with professionalism and pride? Because I don't see that too often from our team, and it really angers me.
I keep hearing, guys, I keep seeing people going, "Oh, well done, Savva." Like, I mean, just so everyone knows, it was me that officially sacked him yesterday. Apparently, according to half the YouTube fan base, it was my fault. Nothing to do with the 22 defeats and finishing 17th. It was me. I keep seeing things like, "Oh, well done. Now Romero goes." Now what's going to happen, Lubo, is whatever player goes, we're now just going to go, "He wouldn't have gone if Ange was here." Romero could have gone if Ange was here or not, right? He's wanted by big clubs. He could have gone anyway, right?
Doesn't matter what people think. All that counts is who comes in and out, and how the team are prepared for next season. I'm not worried about what any other fans. Honestly, people want to start complaining and shouting and screaming. It's all irrelevant. The only thing that's irrelevant is how the team turn up. The first competitive game will be in Udine on August the 13th against PSG, and hopefully we've got a much improved side, not only in players and in terms of personnel with ability, but in terms of being coached. And for me, that's more important. I can't see that any of the players are going to be unhappy enough to leave because Ange is gone. At the end of the day, they all look out for themselves.
You know what should make players very happy? Winning bloody games.
Yeah, Kuma. Do you know what makes me laugh is I watch, like, when I hear, Bentancur, Romero, but what if they leave? Sorry, these guys have got a manager that leaves them painfully exposed on the pitch every minute of the game. Why wouldn't a Romero look and go, actually, yeah, I've got a manager coming in who's actually going to allow me to be a defender without allowing them to have 4-on-2 against me every single time a team attacks. I just think like we're getting to silly season now. Oh, the players liked him. Of course the players liked him. There was no fucking accountability. There was no accountability for anything.
Do you remember when Brian Mason took charge after Conte had gone? And,
Yeah.
We're getting hammered at Newcastle, where they scored about 18 million goals in 4 seconds at the start of the game. And there's at one point there, I thought it summed everything up. And it's Højbjerg is looking back at the defence, and he's just laughing. It's just like, what else can you do when you're a player that's, you know? I'll give Højbjerg one thing: he did try. He would get stuck in. When you got a player that's actually trying, and they're actually reduced to the point where they're having a laugh at how bad the team is and how bad the organisation is, and things. And what does that say about the culture of your club? There's something fundamentally wrong, and we see things like this all the time. There's little things where it feels like it doesn't matter so much, or a player doesn't seem to be trying that hard, or their mind's somewhere else. It probably is. How did Harry Kane feel? I mean, the bloke's an ultimate professional anyway, so he didn't let it suffer. His form didn't suffer from it, but he must have been spending season after season justifying staying at this club. I think, when he gets to the point where you've seen Conte and Mourinho sacked after you've had that lovely time with Pochettino, you're going to start thinking, what else can we do now? Where are we going with anything? What's the point? And it feels like that's this club, but way too often it feels like, what's the point? And it's so weird that we've just won a European trophy and we're instantly back down to Spurs again, isn't it? It's back to business, and business isn't good usually. We got a fantastic little day out at the races where we won something, and suddenly that's becoming a distant memory very quickly. It's a bit alarming, that.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I think, look, footballers leave Lubo, don't they? Footballers leave clubs every year. Sure. Right? Managers leave clubs every year. It's happening. What we've got to not do now is every single time something happens now, we're going to go, that wouldn't have happened if Ange was here. Every time we lose a game next year, it will be, Ange wouldn't have lost that game. Right? Lubo, you know it. Everything now, if it is Frank, everything he does is going to be scrutinised to the point of him not even getting 10 games to get things right. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be crazy, isn't it, in this fan base? It's going to be absolutely crazy.
I mean, I've seen people on the United fan base, the websites, get rid of Amorim. I mean, just ridiculous, just crazy. You've got to give a manager a chance to get his own players as well. At the end of the day, you bring in a manager because of what he has achieved, or you like his work. Ange was brought in because he played a certain style of football. That style of football didn't work. So why are we going to keep a manager there when he's been brought in to play something that's not successful, that fails? So it's fairly simple. I don't get it.
Do you think they enjoy this, Lubo? Do you think the players if me, you and Kuva are sitting here as free fans going, bloody hell, it's awful to watch and we've lost 22 games, 26 in all competitions. Surely the players, aside from the Europa League run, surely they can't enjoy it. You're not going to tell me they enjoy losing every week.
You wouldn't have thought so. Surely they'll be happy. Listen, players are happy if they see good players joining a club. They see 2 or 3 new players who are quality players in training. Players who see a good manager come in with new bright ideas. It's exciting for them as well. So for me, you look at the story that James Ollie came out with. I thought was probably true. That the senior players went up to Ange within the last couple of months and said you've got to compromise on your style of football because they're just losing game after game. So
I think the thing is with this club, and it's been like it for a while now, and I'm going to pick on Levy obviously because he is the one that sets the tone. I always feel a manager after a while here, or a player after a while here, has been conditioned into the point where it doesn't matter anymore. You don't have to win anything. There's no urgency to do it. There's no demand from the owners or anything. You can get battered 6-0 one week as long as you get a 1-0 against, a Norwich or an Ipswich the week after. It's okay. Just try and get into the European places if you can. Nothing else matters. Managers come and go, doesn't matter. What will matter is the chairman can come into the clubs, the restaurant, sit on the edge of a table. Hey, call me Dan, everyone. If you've got a problem, come and see me, not the manager. It's like, why? What the hell are we doing here as a club? This isn't like any other I can think of. Because any other club I've taken any interest in or seen behind the scenes in, the manager's the first place you go to. You're unhappy about something, you go to them, you try to sort it out there. I want more game time. Why aren't I getting picked on that? The manager will like seeing that from a player. But I think we tend to end up with players that are quite happy to sit back there, take the nice big fat paycheck, turn up to work with these luxury conditions. Oh, shall I have an injury today? Yes, go up to the treatment room, grab a nice gourmet sandwich on the way up. Don't do any actual training. It feels like that constantly with this luxurious club with all these great facilities and no will to win anything. And it does come from the top because the demands should be there. There should be consequences for not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And we just coast along. It's happy. It's a little holiday camp, isn't it? It's everybody's friend. No big dramas. No punch-ups like you get at other clubs when they're desperate to win and something's gone wrong. With us, it's, we lost again. Never mind. Manager's going to take the blame. He'll probably get sacked. I can just slack off. And then, if you're going to do something, just run around a little bit because that stat gets measured as though that was playing well. If you do 25 kilometers in a game, what a game he's had. Wow. A team full of Shane Longs who don't give a toss about anything and then get praised for how much they run. And then it'll be all to do with, we had injuries. That's why we didn't win the treble. I'm just going off on a weird rant now, but
I love it.
Right.
I absolutely loved that rant. Can I just say, and big up to my man Soren. I've not seen you in the chat for ages. Hope you're well. But again, this is another narrative that I just don't get. That will be the last cup we win for years to come. It's all about league position now. Right. What I don't get about this is, and I'm not saying Soren has said this, but I keep hearing, you'd rather finish higher up the league than win a trophy. First and foremost, I've not said that. What I actually said was, we should be winning the Europa League and finishing higher up the league. It shouldn't be an either or. Yeah. It shouldn't have been, oh my God, how can we possibly be Alkmaar, Frankfurt, Man United and Bodo Glimt while playing in the league and being 10th? 10th even.
It's what I said earlier, isn't it? We're constantly given this choice of one or the other when people should be saying, do both. People manage that.
I get this a lot, Kuva. I constantly getting asked this on YouTube. Would you finish 17th next season, but win the championship? Sorry, why? Why are we ever put in those hypotheticals? For me, listen, and big up, sorry, it's a great point you bring up. It might be the last cup we win for a while. We've won one in 17 years. I don't know if everyone suddenly thinks we've won the Europa League and you're going to win a cup every year. When Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Villa, Newcastle, Palace winning trophies now. Sorry, have we suddenly become the favourites to win a trophy every season because we've won one? Just think people have got to switch on a little bit here. Yes, we want to try and win trophies, but you've got to get up that league, Kuva. You've got to get up that league. That's your bread and butter. Got to.
It's the only form of solid foundation you can possibly have is consistently winning week in, week out. If you're doing that, you are up high in the league. It's that simple. You can't just lose like 9 out of 10 games in the league, go on a little cup run, and suddenly you're a great side. It doesn't work like that.
Agreed.
No, doesn't, does it?
Equally, it doesn's make the manager great because he's gone on a good cup run.
And,
Right.
and also, anybody that says, if a manager ever says, we're binning off this competition for another one, I'd sack them on the spot.
Oh, for sure. That is why, Kuva, I never, ever, ever, ever believed this bloody nonsense of, oh, I reckon that Levy and Ange had a conversation in January and Ange just said, oh, I'm going to bin the league off. And Levy's gone, yeah, go on, mate. It must be mad. That is... Oh, I don't get it.
It's one consistent thing Levy has been is with league position. Is if we're not getting into Champions League spots when he felt we've got the quality in the squad to do it, the manager went. And if we're not getting into Europe when we should be, the manager goes. So why 17th is going to be acceptable, I have no idea.
So can I ask you a question, guys? Right. So I keep hearing this, right? I keep hearing this narrative from people that again, context, right? When was the last time we won a trophy and finished high up in the league? Sure. But if you think about it, look at those years under Poch. Didn't we finish second, third, fourth? If I'm not wrong,
Third, it was fifth, third, second, third, fourth.
Right. And in those 4 years where we finished second, third, fourth, not in that order, but in those years, how many cup finals did we get to under Poch? 3? 2?
2.
Didn't you get to 2 League Cup? My brain's gone. 1 League Cup final.
Yeah. One was the year. Yeah, sorry. The year we finished 5th was the year we reached the League Cup final. The first 5th.
Okay. So we finished 5th and got to a League Cup final, 4th and got to a Champions League final. So what we're saying is, what we're asking for is so out of the realms of possibility of finishing in the top 5, 6 and winning a trophy when we were 90 minutes away from doing it on 2 occasions in the last 15 years. Sorry, last 10 years. That for me, guys, is context. Right? Beat Liverpool, suddenly we're 90 minutes. We've changed the course of history in 90 minutes. So all of these people going, when have we ever done it? We've had the chance to. So this narrative that finishing, you have to finish bottom half to win a trophy. I'm not on board with this at all. I'm not doing this. This is to make people feel better about themselves. I'm not doing that. No. Sorry, Kuva. I'm not doing it.
It's part of the conditioning of being a Spurs fan, isn't it, nowadays?
Sure.
I'm not going to blame people for it either, because it's been going on for decades. One thing at this club has been fantastic in Levy's tenure, and that is PR. My God, do they spin it so everything's rosy all the time. And it's caught on to the fans now. Fans' expectations have gone way down. I remember feeling shocked years back when Lloris had first come to the club, and we'd draw 0-0 or something like that, and it was a really dire, horrible game, and big splash screen of his poster everywhere and graphic done of it. Don't you just love it when Lloris keeps a clean sheet? And I thought, no, I want to see goals. Look, why are we celebrating this now? Is it because we didn't win, so we're going to cheer like drawing is great as well? No, it isn't. It's meh. But nowadays it's like the norm. If we do something average, well, hey, we're doing so well now. Now we're going to really kick on. No, we're not. That's where we're destined to be under this ownership.
Yeah. So can I answer Alexander Liam George 406? Yeah, agreed. Podge did downgrade cup games. I remember going to Palace, getting beaten in the 4th round game 2-0 when he left half the team out. I remember going to Dortmund in the UEFA Cup last 16, I think it was, when he left half the team out. We got smacked 3-0. You said Postecoglou never dismissed cuts. When he played 9, he made 9 changes at Fulham last season. He made several changes against Tamworth, and we just about survived. And he made 7, 8, 9 changes in Ferencvaros and what was the other game? Ferencvaros, Galatasaray. Made 7 changes that day. So he did, you know, he was rotating. He did downplay certain games.
But he also got to 2 cup finals and multiple semi-finals, right?
It was 3 cup finals. I think it was, no, 2. It was 2. It was 2. It was 2.
So he's got to 2 cup finals, right? Multiple semi-finals. People going, oh, he just threw it, right? Now, listen, by the way, Mr. Benji, people aren't listening. I've never said it's good. Please, something my mum, rest in peace, said to me. 2 of these. What I said was we were 90 minutes away from doing what people are saying can't be done. But listen, I'm going to bring up from Alex again, because Alex is one of these people now that it's everything is Levy's fault so much that no context can be applied, right? But we didn't. The fact remains it hasn't been done under Levy. Sure, but Daniel Levy would point and go, well, hang on. I've given Poch the squad to get to a League Cup final twice, and he's lost them both. I've given Poch the squad to get to a Champions League final, and he's lost that. So when we're saying fact remains it hasn't been done under Levy, we have to put some of the blame on the managers for these finals. We can't just turn around and go, guys, do you know, getting to that Champions League final, Spurs had to play Inter Milan, Barcelona, PSV, Dortmund, Ajax, Man City, and Liverpool, right? So you're telling me, not you guys, just the Royal, that everything was good enough to smack up City in the quarters, beat Ajax in the semis, get through a group that had Barcelona and Inter Milan, batter Dortmund, but it wasn't good enough to beat Liverpool. Right, that for me is where I do find the Levy thing goes too far. Right, 90 minutes away we were from being European champions. 90 minutes away. Right, look at the final Harry Redknapp lost as Spurs manager. Remember the final? Wasn't that the penalties? 0-0 Man United. Right, yeah. Where did we finish that year under Harry Redknapp? Right, it wasn't 17th.
No,
right,
it was 11th.
And again, so, and that was his first season, right? So we were a penalty shootout. We were a penalty. Hang on, let me just double check. What was that year? That was 2009, wasn't it?
It was 08-09.
So that was 08-09, 8th. So Harry got us, didn't he, from bottom to 8th, right? And lost on a cup on penalties. So I'm sorry, I'm not putting a penalty shootout at Daniel Levy's feet. I'm sorry. Many things I will put at Daniel Levy's feet, right? A goalkeeper dives a different way. A player shoots a different corner. Now we've won that cup and finished in the. I'm sorry, it's just ridiculous.
It depends how you look at it, doesn't it? Because I'd also make the argument that because we hadn't gone that extra mile and got that extra player or two that were game changers that could come off the bench, we might not have had a penalty shootout. We might have won it outright.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Over. Exactly right.
Okay, so we're good enough to be. So we're good enough to get to these finals, but not good enough to win them.
Yeah.
Oh, come on! Look at the teams we beat on route to.
But that's fact, isn't it? We were good enough to get there, just good enough not to win them.
Hang on, that's not Daniel Levy's fault. If we're good enough to take Man United, and it was a good Man United side, by the way, right? This is a good Man United. We're not talking about Ruben Amorim's Man United, right? This was a good Man United side that we took to penalties. I can't blame that on Daniel Levy. In a final, it's 90 minutes. In a final, it's 90 minutes.
So when you look at 2015 Chelsea, did we lose to Chelsea in another final?
We lost to Chelsea 2-0. They were super, but that was Chelsea. They're superior, right?
Correct. And Liverpool had a better team than us. I think how many points did they finish ahead of us? Madrid year, 15 points was it? They were more. They got 97 points that year, I think, didn't they? So you're looking at
Alex. I'm going to say this with all due respect. Fuck off, mate. Stop this. You keep lying about things in the chat. I've tolerated it enough, right? Sorry, I saw this. Savva, will you finally be 100% Levy out? I am 100% Levy out. I just don't believe in the protests. So stop your shit, man. You're pissing me off. I'll be brutally honest, mate. You're pissing me off. You keep saying shit that you know isn't true. If you're trying to wind me up, you've got to me. I've bitten. You've poked the bear. But stop saying stupid shit to me, Alex. Stop saying stupid shit, please. Sorry. I don't like this whole, I must be Levy in because every now I say everything isn't his fault. Sorry, I'm not doing that. Not doing that.
Okay.
Sorry, Luke.
I think what both Coover and I are saying is that if you had owners that wanted that success, that went out and bought stronger, better players, so you had a stronger squad. So if you had an injury, crisis, you could get over it. Then for me, that does come down to the backing. At the end of the day, the manager doesn't decide the budget. The amount of money he's got to spend each year. That comes down to the owner. Levy sets the budget, and he gives it to the director of football or Paritici, or last year it was Munn, to hand on to Ange and say, right, we've got X amount plus whatever you bring in. That's the point. Once you start getting chairmen who say, yes, let's stretch it. I'm not saying go 100% of revenue, but we're at 42%, and that'll be less this year because the wages went down by 23 million. So it'll probably be about 39% wages to revenue. If it was 60, then if you're buying better players who are demanding higher wages and you're prepared to pay the higher wages, when you get to these finals, Sav, and you're playing against a top team, because, we've lost to City, Liverpool and Chelsea, 3 very tough teams, 3 of the best teams. If you go in and your squad is not as strong as theirs, then if everybody turns up, they're going to win every time. 9 out of 10. You might.
So let me blow your theory completely out of the water. Let me blow your theory. And again, because you need to lay the blame of 100% of everything at Levy's feet. Again, context goes missing.
Penalty shootout is different. Blackburn, we should have won because we had a higher budget. We had better players. Blackburn and Man United. But the other games.
Let me make my point, Lubo.
Okay.
Right. Who won the League Cup this year?
That was a very strong Newcastle team that beat Liverpool.
Hang on, no. I'm just asking a question. Who won the League Cup this year?
Well, Newcastle did.
And they're nowhere near as good as Liverpool. Who won the FA Cup this year?
I wouldn't say they're nowhere near as good as Liverpool.
No, but factually they're not, right? Like if we really want to do this, this is a Newcastle team that lost 12 games all season. Liverpool lost 4. This is a Newcastle team that finished 18 points behind Liverpool, right? Crystal Palace won the FA Cup. So why are Crystal Palace able to do it? Why are Newcastle able to do it? Why were Wigan able to beat Man City? For me, we have to put some of the blame at these managers' feet. Some of it. I'm not doubting that these clubs have better players than us and could bring better players off the bench. But why were Crystal Palace able to beat Man City in the cup final?
I think their players played at the max and City's players dropped off.
Okay, so when we're in the cup finals, why did we beat Chelsea in 08?
Why did we beat Chelsea in 08?
Why did we beat Chelsea? Our team was nowhere near theirs. Our budget was nowhere near theirs. Look at the bench that they brought on compared to us. So,
because I think at that stage we had some real top grade players who stood up that day. King, Woodgate, and Berbatov that day were superb.
Sure. But this is but my point is this, Lubo, is I've just dismantled your theory about the team with the biggest budget mostly win.
I'm just giving you law of averages. I'm talking about law of averages.
But
the team, Wigan can win. Hang on. Ipswich beat Arsenal. Southampton beat United in the 70s. These things. This has been going on right the way through. Sunderland beat Leeds in the 70s as well. You can have a one-off game. But by and large, more often than not, these are normal, you remember them because they are one-off games. You had 3 and 4 years there. But normally, the better team will win the cup final, more often than not.
Or a manager that sets their team up brilliantly, like Newcastle did in the final against Liverpool, like Crystal Palace did in the final against Man City.
Well, I don't think Poch set up that badly against Liverpool in the cup final. To be honest, it wasn't like. You think
But
so?
I
don't think it was
I
set
thought
up
we were
badly.
awful that day. I thought we were awful, but I think that the difficult thing for me is we all know what Daniel Levy's done and what he hasn't. But again, when you're beating Barcelona, sorry, was it Inter we beat? Not Barcelona, wasn't it? I think we beat Inter, didn't we, in one of those games? When you've beaten Inter,
Yeah.
you've got to draw against Barcelona. You've beaten Dortmund. You've beaten Man City. We beat Man City. We beat Man City, who, if I'm not wrong, won the league that year, right? Who were better than Liverpool that year. So we beat Man City, but then we couldn't beat Liverpool. Oh, Levy's fault. Hang on. Like, we've got to be consistent here. Surely there's a middle ground where we can't just blame Levy for everything. Surely.
I'm going to blame him for everything anyway. I'm happy to be completely biased. What are you going to do about it?
Come on, right? So I'm again, Alex. You keep doing it. Yeah. Who is this? I can't win with this guy. Right? He got it wrong, but got let down by Levy with 0 back in that season. Do you know what? You do realise, though, and again, this is that Poch turned down players that year. And when we're saying he didn't sign anyone, you do realise he had the opportunity to sign players, didn't want them. You do realise in that summer...
He didn't.
He turned down Yuri Tielemans.
He didn't. He was told that was probably a year later. That was maybe a year later. He was told. We talked about the 18 months period where he had no money to spend.
When Dembele went, he was offered Yuri Tielemans. Said no. Yuri Tielemans joined Leicester on loan. He was offered Yuri Tielemans. I know that for a fact.
The funny thing is, the best player in the cup final in Madrid was Harry Winks.
No, I agree. Mate, yeah. I completely agree. But by the way, I just find it really funny that, Poch, he wasn't backed and he wasn't given any players. Well, he seemed to negotiate the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, the knockout stages and the group all right. Like, that's just why I just think it's funny. I think we're selective about when we want to blame Levy for everything. I'd have more respect if people turn around and said, listen, Lubo, you know what I blame Levy for. I blame Levy for all the times we have not kicked on. Like right now in this summer transfer window, I will 100% lay the blame at Levy's feet because we won't kick on. Right? Now that's down to him to prove me and you, Lubo and Kuva and all of us wrong. Go and get your Guahis. Go and sign your Ezes. Go and sign Paulinias. Shut us up and we can all turn around and say, go on then, Mr. Manager, whoever you are. You've been given top players. But I can't blame him for some of the things managers do. I can't blame him for Pochettino deciding to play Son, a left wing back in an FA Cup semi-final. Can't blame him for that. I can't blame him for playing I can't blame Levy for playing Harry Kane in a final where we could all see that Harry Kane wasn't fit. Right?
I just think, Sam. I just think it's. Matches are like micro, and the big picture is macro. And I just think that when you look at 25 years, I think we've underachieved badly. You look at all the other clubs. I mean, Chelsea won 19, 20, 21 now. City have won about 18 trophies. Arsenal have won 8 or 10. United have won 12 or 14. Liverpool have won a few, and we've won 2. So for me, if we'd have won 5 in 25 years, that would have been carrying on from the previous 40 years. So you'd have looked at it and you'd have thought, you know what, we're fairly consistent from 1960 to current day. We win every 5 years approximately. We won 9 in 40 years between the double team and Enoch taking over in 2000. So you look at it and you think 5 trophies. That's where we are as a club. Now, obviously, we want to kick on.
I can't blame Levy for all of that. That's all I'm saying.
But you couldn't turn around and say Levy's let us down. But there's so much that's gone on in the 25 years, and there's so much money that's come into football.
But again, Lubo, on that I agree. I agree with you on all of that.
We're financially strong. There are a lot of clubs that don't have the financial firepower that Spurs have, and people say, but he has been spending money the last few years. But if he knew what he was doing, and if he put the money in the right hands, we wouldn't be wasting it.
It's an analogy.
We agree on that.
It's an analogy I gave to Sean Butler once, and he really liked this one. I've thought what Levy's basically done for this club is he's grown a bonsai tree. In that we were in a complete mess, and he's built a lovely pot, a lovely garden. He's nurtured us, clipped the little branches, got us looking immaculate. Really good job. But he's also stunted our growth when we got to that point where we were as big as we could possibly be for that pot, and we needed to be replanted so we could grow into a bigger tree. We've been stuck in that pot and maintained that way. And that's what I think Levy has done for us all the time. When I say about, I don't think he's gone the extra mile, I mean that. I'm not just talking about, say, a Champions League final where a couple of substitutes could turn it around. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe Liverpool were just always going to win that because they were a better side than we were. That's also a possibility. But I'm talking about things like when we were chasing Leicester in the league, and we get those horrendous, forget the Chelsea result, that isn't what cost us. What cost us, I thought, was the West Brom result in that season, where we're expecting to win, nice home game, and we just could not put them away. Yes. And I was looking at the bench and thinking, who was on the bench? Mason, Bentaleb, was Janssen there as well then at that point, I think? Or was it an aging Soldado still? I can't remember. But you looked at the bench and thought, there's nothing there. What are we going to do when we need to change this? And it was like that all the way through the season. And I'm just thinking, a really ambitious chairman might have just put a couple of players on that bench that could have done something.
Kuva, which year are you talking about? The year Leicester won it or Chelsea?
Yeah, Leicester.
The key week for that was the first week of March. And unfortunately, I went through rotation. Poch went to West Ham. I think Dembele was injured that day, which was a massive loss. And he took out Walker and Rose, and he played Trippier and Davis. And we lost 1-0. And then we played Arsenal on the Saturday when Harry Kane scored that fantastic arcing goal, from the edge of the box from left to right, when he had the mask on. And we gave away, and I think, Xhaka got sent off, and we were 2-1 up against 10 men, and we got caught, and Alexis Sanchez got the equaliser. And we dropped those 5 points. If we'd have won at West Ham, that's the one time that season would have finished top. Would have finished the match top of the table. And unfortunately, those 5 points that we lost, we never regained. Leicester just went from then on. Leicester won virtually every single game. We never quite could get that. I agree with you on the squad thing, but we had 12 or 13 tip-top players in that team.
What about Leicester's squad?
And then they had no injuries, they had no Europe.
What about Leicester?
It's a big help, Sav. Massive help.
Sure.
And
I just feel like we've got an excuse for everything. That's my problem with this. I feel like we've got an excuse for everything that happens at this club. We've got an excuse. We've got fans excusing 22 defeats. We've got fans excusing why we're so wide open at the back. We excuse that it's always poor us. For me, that season, we were better than Leicester, player for player. We should have won that. For me.
Yes.
For me.
We should have done. We drew 1-1, I think, away from home in August. That was Dele. I'm talking about the 2 Leicester matches. Dele Alli scored in 85 minutes. Then Vertonghen let Mahrez cut in and score an 88th minute equaliser. And then at home on January the 9th, we dominated the whole game, and Robert Huth scored an 83rd minute winner for 1-0. And those are the key games. You switch that around. If we'd have had 6 points, there'd have been a 10-point swing, I think.
But that's my point about, I can lay blame on the chairman because we were lacking the players when we needed it. What Leicester did was freakish, and we knew that at the time. It was an absolute force of nature that season. How everything came together for them, for that consistently throughout that entire season. That's why it was a fairy tale. Nobody was expecting it. Most of their fans didn't expect it. So, yeah, I suppose you could have. It's something that you got to be fair of when you say consistency. Yeah, I give Daniel Levy praise for turning us into more of a professional, if you like, club with a great new stadium, big fan base, growing market everywhere. The value of the club's gone up. Everything looks fantastic. But then on the other hand, the football side could have been done a lot better, couldn't it? So what you really want to, if you want to blame everything on each manager whenever we don't fail to win something, okay. But the overarching sort of view of the club is a club that hasn't really done what it should have been doing over a 20-year period. And
I agree on that.
That can't be down to just managers, surely.
No, but Kuva, I agree on that. Like I completely agree on that. I'm not disregarding the point that the owner could have done more. Of course, I just think that when you're
do a quiz.
Huh?
Let's move on then. Do a quiz.
Do a quiz. Do a quiz. I'm just looking at the squad from 2015, 2016. Yeah, listen, there was definitely more that could have been done, but I don't think it's as weak as everyone says. But hey, that's just me. But look, this all comes down to I want to round off for the last 10 minutes. Then I'm going to close it down. I think a lot of people are going to probably go and watch England play Andorra because that will be a hugely exciting game, I'm sure. Another one of those pointless games where England rock up, win easily, and then we crack on. Look, I keep seeing a lot of people now saying that what's expected of a Thomas Frank next season. And I know we're all talking like he's got the job. So I want to ask this question more broader to you two. Whoever comes in, Frank, Silva, Glasner, Xavi, Iriola, whoever it is, guys, what would represent a good year? Bearing in mind, there's a lot of work to do. This is an uncoached side. We've got Champions League. And bear in mind, right, that whoever comes in is picking up a club that does have a lot to do. What would be a good season next year? I'm seeing ridiculous things like has to win a trophy or it's an absolute failure. What would be a good what's a measure of good success next year?
Top 8 for me. Top 8 and actually look like we are a competent side that is going in the right direction, improving as the season goes on, and individual players looking better as the season goes on as well. That would do me. I think we need that kind of consistency in the league back, and need it urgently, and some sort of belief in what's happening after that. Because if we do it again, where a dreadful league season and then have a good cup run, we've got nowhere really, have we?
I agree. I mean, Lubo, whatever this next manager does, people are going to go, didn't win a cup. If he didn't win, but you're not going to win the Champions League, are you? So
you're not. So exactly that's the only difference between next season and this season. Is the only different competition really is Champions League to Europa League. So
yeah,
if anybody's expecting Frank or whoever to come in and win the Champions League just to equal Ange, that's nonsense, because the Champions League is several levels up.
Yeah.
Several levels above. I have no idea at this stage where I think we'll finish. I want to see what manager we get, and I want to see what players we bring in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think, if we're sitting here at the end of the transfer window, Sav, and you say, right, we've got so and so in place, we've got these players are in place, that the transfer window's now closed. What are you expecting? Then I've got more idea in my head, having seen who the manager is and how strong the squad is, and other teams' squads as well. Because we're not the only team in the league. If City carry on improving, Liverpool carry on improving the way they are, you would expect possibly those two to pull away next year. If this carries on.
And Chelsea, mate, Chelsea are spending. Hang
Arsenal,
on, as well.
Arsenal by Fesco. I know.
Arsenal have got, if they get Sesko, if they get Zubimendi, building a squad. I mean, for me, I think that obviously we need to look and see what players are here. We need to see what players are here. We need to see who the manager is. But for me, I think we need to build to actually being a decent football team. Yeah. First and foremost, year one, I think we need to actually get some sort of stability into. It can't be this. I think, but I know he's not going to be given that time. I know what's going to happen. I can tell you right now, all the people that didn't want Ange out, the moment this guy loses 2 or 3 games, they will suddenly forget that they said it's okay for Ange to keep losing, and it will be, this guy's terrible. That's the problem that we're going to have now. And these are going to be the same people that said the league doesn't matter under Ange are going to be the same ones that will judge Thomas Frank by league position. I'm calling it now. We'll see. Calling it now.
And we're certainly not going to be winning our place in Europe for the season after by winning the Champions League, are we?
Right.
So league position and getting a European place, not necessarily Champions League, might be a little bit too far to go, but who knows if there's 5 spaces available again. Getting into Europe again by league position would be a decent season, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
The main thing is look like a properly coached, consistent football team that doesn't go getting battered by stupid results.
And do you know what?
Go on.
Let the fans turn up at games with a smile on their face and enjoy it. And let's start enjoying our team again.
Right. But when we're saying this is a minimum requirement, I would say right now, for us to qualify for the Champions League through the league is going to be, we need a proper top midfielder to run games. I think we need a proper winger who can beat a man and gives us something different. I think we need a proper striker. I think we need another defender. I think for this to happen, we're going to need to see the Ezes of this world come into the club. Otherwise, 2017, the squad we had then compared to now is chalk and cheese for me, guys. Chalk and cheese. I don't think that's fair to say. But we'll see. Is the round of 16 the champion? I guess it depends. First and foremost, it depends who our 8 games are. If we're drawn against Bayern Munich, Juventus, PSG, but let's see. For me, I want to see, guys. I want to see who the squad is. I want to see what the squad is. I want to see what the squad is before I make any real predictions. But
I really want Bayern Munich now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Harry Kane to score against us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much, Lubo. Kuva, thank you for joining me for a couple of hours this afternoon. Really enjoyed that. Lovely to see you again, Kuva. You look sexy as always. Lubo, the old Pierre Luigi Collina lookalike. I love that one. That's my new thing for you. And me, I apparently look like Alexis McAllister of Liverpool. So, we do these things.
I'm just laughing. I'm just going through the comments. David's a friend of mine. Afternoon, David said, I agree with you that another great decision made by Levy to bin off Ange. Wind up, Merchant. But it was true. Listen, he did make the right decision. Shame it took him so long.
I think it was made ages ago, Lubo. I don't believe that he needed this 2 weeks. I think that he was letting the euphoria. I think, listen, somebody in the club, communication PR-wise, would say, listen, if you're going to sack him, you can't do it immediately after the final. You're going to have to let a little bit of time pass, right?
Someone told me 6 weeks ago, decision was made.
I don't doubt it.
Okay. Here we go. Just to add a little bit extra to what my expectations for the next manager. I want to go through a whole season where I'm not making bets like us to lose at home to Leicester and being right.
Yeah, no. Do you know what, Kuva? Spot on. All I want for next season is I don't want to go into games going, how many chances on our goal are they going to have? Is it 20 or 25 this week? Like, that's all I want. Like, just bring me back to some sort of, oh, I like what this manager's done, a cohesive team, a unit. And maybe back down towards the 12 defeat mark rather than the 22 defeat mark.
That'd be a huge improvement, wouldn't it?
Of course it would.
Huge improvement.
Well, let's get it. Let's get it down to Frankfurt at home, who only had 3 shots on target the whole game. That would be a start, wouldn't it?
Sure. Listen, there's going to be games where you get the better teams are going to have loads of chances. We got to the stage where the Wolves of this world, the Leicester, these teams were just peppering our goal, and it was just a bit embarrassing. But listen, I am going to leave it there. What I will say, thank you very much to Lubo. Thank you very much to Kuva. I really appreciate you guys. Tomorrow, I'll be back in the morning just for I might do a phone-in show in the morning. And then we have got the Spurs review tomorrow night. Lubo will be joining me, as will 3 or 4 others. And then, listen, we start the fun and games next week with the waiting of who will be our manager, who won't. Let me just quickly show you one last thing before we leave. Let's bring up the odds on Odds Checker for the next Spurs manager. Let's see what's happened in the last 24 hours. Here we go. This is what the bookies are saying. You can see there that Thomas Frank is the overwhelming favourite, overwhelming favourite. You can get him as far out as 1 to 4 on. Marco Silva, second favourite. Glasner is now the third favourite with Xavi, and Poch is shortening all the time. And I think I don't see Poch happening purely because he's at USA in a World Cup year in the US.
Yeah, it just means there's some money being put on him. That's all, isn't it?
But if Levy did that, he really would be a genius, wouldn't he? Because that would pacify how much of the fan base?
The money they are asking, allegedly, is enormous for Poch to break his. To break the contract, the USA.
Pochettino, I loved him, but he'd be an idiot to come back while Levy's still here.
Absolutely. I don't want him back with Levy. I'd love to see him back when Levy's gone. Let him come back. He did so much for the club. Didn't quite get us over the line. Let Enid go, then let Poch come back under new owners. Definitely.
Well, there you go. Have it just in case anyone fancy a little flutter.
Can you imagine that? So, can you imagine that first home game when Poch walks out of the tunnel? Be mental.
It would be. It would be. Just quickly, by the way, De Zerbi, we heard today that Spurs did approach De Zerbi, and De Zerbi said no. Scotty Parker's there. Iriola, again, is there. And then if you want to start going for some big numbers, you've got Gareth Southgate at 50s.
No, please don't.
Cesc Fabregas is at 50s. I can't see that ever happening. And you've got Unai Emery at 66s. I don't know why. But anyway, and if you want a huge, what did I see earlier? Ryan Mason's at 80 to 1. I love that. That would be Spursy, wouldn't it? That would be Spursy. Going to get Ryan Mason a week after we've let him go to come back. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Love you all. Take care. And as always, Tin Man 007 has said, what if Frank turns us down? If Frank turns us down, then we really aren't attractive, are we, to players or managers? But equally, I do think, I know I've said I'm going to go, I do think when a lot of people are saying, I want a better manager than Frank, I want a better manager than Silva, I think that a lot of better managers, I don't think we're attractive. I'm just going to put it out there, guys. I don't think we're as attractive as the fan base think we are. I think there's a lot of work to do, and I don't think we're attractive. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Especially after what happened to Mourinho and Conte.
For sure. For sure. Which is why I don't want a Mourinho or Conte type. Everyone keeps going, but we've had Mourinho. What's the point? You buy Mourinho, you get Mourinho or Conte, right? They knock on the door and they go, oh, I want this player. And Daniel Levy goes, no. You know, or like Conte wanting Bastoni, which is never, ever going to happen. Anyway, guys, There's more days to talk about Spurs. Take care, everyone. Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.